It's signing day, and the Florida Gators, not gonna lie, kind of putting together a bit of a squad right now.
You are Locked On Gators, your daily podcast on the Florida Gators. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Locked On Gators, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thanks for making Locked On Gators your first listen of the day every day. We are available daily and free if you listen to the podcast and on YouTube. I am Brandon Olsen. Find all my written work about the Florida Gators with swampsignal.substack.com. It's signing day, right? And the Florida Gators right now, depending on where you look, on 24/7, they've got the 16th ranked recruiting class in the country. Then you go to On3/Rivals, however you prefer to say it, and they're 13th in the country, 7th in the SEC on On3, and on 24/7, I would imagine fairly similar there. 8th, yep, 8th spot behind Oklahoma here. And first off, this is frankly an impressive way to stick with the class where so far the only decommit since Billy Napier got fired was running back Carson Baker, who, to my knowledge, Carson Baker has not said where he's going. I am expecting that to be South Carolina. I know that he said that he's not completely ruling out Florida there. I disagree. I feel like decommitting, 2 days before signing day is probably a pretty solid indicator that not going to go to that school, right? Also, I see you in the chat. I see a couple messages in the chat. Let me know which players you want to watch, which players you want to talk about. We're going to see if we can throw Huddle up on the screen at some point today, and we'll see if we can talk about guys. I have no set time for how long we're going live. We're just going to let it ride. But so far, this class, according to, let's see if I can get a more updated list from who's actually signed to this point and who's not yet signed. But this class could have fallen apart when Billy Napier got fired, right? Especially when you spend a month without a coach at all. And that didn't happen, right? In fact, Carson Baker decommitted after Jon Sumrall was hired. And so I think that when you look at this class and you go, all right, it easily could have fallen apart, but it didn't. That's something to say is positive, I think. Just by the way, honestly, I'm going to be completely frank with you. I think this is a great recruiting class. I really do. Which is not surprising. I've been very open about that. But when Billy Napier got fired, we would have the conversation about who needs to stay in this class. And there were 3 names that I kept throwing out there. And I was like, these are the 3 where I say you need to keep them. It was cornerback CJ Bronaugh, kept. It was offensive tackle Tyler Chukium, kept. And it was edge rusher KJ Ford. And him, kept. So I also saw Swamp Talk with Tony said KJ Ford's the guy that he wants to hear about, talk about. KJ Ford is a dude. Duncanville did it. Duncanville has 2 good edge rushers in the 2026 recruiting class, which is impressive on itself. I will also say this, as someone that was born and raised in New York, it is wild for me to see when schools have multiple SEC talents there. I just think that that's insane to watch, where it's all right, well, there was one SEC talent in my whole in New York City when I was in high school. And so that's just wild to me. Will Hezi Kent move to tackle, or is he a legit college tight end? That's, I think, the multi-million-dollar question, right? Hezi Kent listed as 6'6", 300 pounds on 24/7. He is an absolute tank, right? That plays tight end, and people are wanting him to play offensive tackle because of that size and coming over, right? But I will also say that I don't know what he's going to do. Okay. I think that what we're going to see is him try to play tight end And if that transition is not going well, whether that's not picking up the playbook for whatever that playbook's going to look like, whether it's not being able to, like if you go into practice and he can't separate against Florida's DBs or Florida's linebackers or whoever's covering him at that time, he's probably not going to separate against a lot of other SEC DBs, right? That's at least the way that I look at it, is if you can't separate in practice, I'm not expecting you to separate in game. Even if you're going up against an elite guy, if you can't create separation in practice, I don't think that you will separate in a game. And we've seen Hezi, like at his size, the athleticism that he has is incredible. However, I think that's also a great selling point for him to go to offensive tackle, right? And again, I'm not saying that he should. If I was in his camp, I would say, hey, man, a lot more money to be made at offensive tackle. I'm just going to say that one. But I also think that it's a lot more fun to play tight end, right? You get to be involved in the passing attack a bit. You get to make some plays there. There's more, I'll say, glory with playing tight end, right? Again, touchdowns, get to celebrate offensive tackle. You're not really going to get to do that. But there's more money at tackle. There's more value at tackle. And you can even talk about comparing, an elite tight end to a pretty good offensive tackle. That pretty good offensive tackle probably going to be a more impactful player than an elite tight end. Then he's also going to be probably a higher paid player than an elite tight end. So Hezi Kent's interesting, but I think that part of this recruiting process was pretty simply, does he want to play tight end or does he want to play tackle? And if he wants to play tight end and you told him he could play tight end, then let him play tight end. That's it. It just like that's the thing. I'll give my opinion on things, right? But doesn't necessarily matter like what I think he should do, right? If he wants to play tight end and that was part of why he committed to Florida and that's part of why he stayed committed to Florida, then let him play tight end, right? And yeah, he can be looked at as a guy like Darnell Washington with the Pittsburgh Steelers, right? Darnell Washington is, I think, 6'7". Oh, 6'7". Is I think 6'7", 312 pounds or something like that. So not far off from Hezi Kent's side. We also have 67 listeners right now, or viewers right now. So I'm just going to go ahead and do it again. Now it's at 69. Nice. But I do think that you can look at that as like a Darnell Washington, where Darnell Washington is sometimes a pretty good playmaker in the passing game. He's capable of these big vertical plays that you basically just let him run straight, right? That's all you got to let him do. But then he's also basically another offensive lineman in the run game and in pass protection. And there is value in that. Like there really is a lot of value in that one for Hezi Kent, or any tight end that's capable of doing that, right? There's a lot of value in actually being someone that could be a threat in the passing game, as well as someone that can actually be a reliable mover in the blocking game, whether that's run blocking, pass blocking, whatever it is. Being able to contribute in multiple ways like that, that's big. That's helpful, right? Especially for an offense where they're probably going to want to still run the football a good bit. Like I know everybody wants to talk about how it's a new day. It's not the Billy Napier offense anymore. It's like, well, we also don't know what the offense is going to be, but I can tell you this. Every Florida Gators fan watching right now, there's 71 people in here. I'm assuming 65 of you are Florida Gators fans, probably. Important to note that they still have Jaden Ball. Like they still have Jaden Ball. They're still going to want to run the football, right? And you want them to run the football. How often do we see Florida fans go run the ball? They're still going to want to run it. They're still going to want to run the football. Hezi Kent helps you do that. Did we miss anybody that was talked about? I saw there were recent names put up there. Wide receiver Marquez Daniel, dude. No other way to put it. He's a dude. 6'5", 195 on 24/7. And yeah, he's just a menace. I remember when he first committed to Florida, we went live and we were talking about it, and I was talking about his film. And one of the things that I loved about it was like he's just a dog. He just wants the ball. That's it. Like he when he's covered, he's just, hey, here. Like he's just, give me the ball. That's it. Like while he's covered, he doesn't care. He just wants the football. He just wants to play. And I love that attitude. I love that mentality. And he'll go up and get it. Again, 6'5", 195 is a big dude. There are not many DBs that are covering that. We saw it with Florida against Florida State last week. Early in the game, Deuce Robinson, 6'6". Javari Flowers on 5'10". What did they do? Throw it up. Yeah, top shelf. That's all you got to do with some of these guys. And Marquez Daniel, capable of doing that. Like his film. I will say how often he'll create separation is something that I'm going to look at. But that's also a thing with guys that are 6'5". Like, it's so rare that they're good separators. It really is. Because they got these long limbs usually, like these long legs. And it's kind of tough to really get down into a break and separate when you're going up against someone that's, 5'11", 6 feet tall. But that's the point of being like, all right, well, I don't need to separate from you all the time. I can just bully you for it. And I think that's an important thing to look at. And an important thing to hope for, honestly, because again, like he's going to go up against some of these dudes. Like, if you're not a good separator against some of these, 6'1" corners, 6'2" corners that have long arms, like that's going to be a bit of a struggle at times, right? But if you can offset that by just bullying them, that's a big plus, right? And like, that's someone that I'll watch him and I'll say, if I can refine the route running a little bit, that's a productive ass receiver, right? That's a productive ass receiver. That's all I could say. That's what he'll be. Loving the film on Justin Williams and KJ Ford. With KJ Ford, we could also circle back to, he looks pretty lean. Like, we'll cut his film on in a bit, but he looks pretty lean. But for someone, again, he's listed as 6'3", 6'3 and a half, 245. I don't know what he really is. But I think that when you watch him, you go, he looks pretty lean, but the way that he's still stout against the run and physical against the run, he'll set the edge. You got to like it, right? You got to like that energy and that tenacity. And I mean, you watch him rush the passer, and he has some reps where he's just so good. He really does. He has some reps where you see that bend and it's just like, oh man, that's something we haven't seen that much of. And then you think opposite Jaden Woods could be a really fun young pass rushing duo for 2 years before Jaden Woods is gone. And so you could see someone like KJ Ford there, long arms. I do think that he's one of those guys, like every high school edge rusher, like, you got to see development of the toolbox. I think that there's a lot of edge rushers that just, they don't have that toolbox developed at all. And some, let me just to pull the curtain back on some things. There are schools, teams, coaches, whatever it may be, that limit what you can do as a pass rusher. Okay. I hate it, but it's what teams are. Like, we've seen it. It happens in the NFL, right? There's certain teams where they go, hey, this is what we want our edges to do. This is where we need you to be. And so if we need you to be here, no spin moves. Like, they'll say things like that. They'll say no spin moves, no inside rips, right? Like, nope, you can't do something that's going to take you out of position. We need you setting the edge, containing at all times. So if you're doing that, what's up, Ray Graves Goat? So if you're doing that, like if you're doing an inside rip or an inside counter move, you're not going to be containing on the edge, because you're not. You gave up edge contain. And I remember we had 3-4 years ago, Myles Garrett complaining about it. Myles Garrett was like, yeah, they're telling me I can only do these 3 pass rush moves, and that's it. It's just like, it's Myles Garrett. You're limiting what Myles Garrett can do to fit your scheme. And so I hope that's not a thing that we'll see at Florida. I will say that. I'm just saying it to say that there are some, or most edge rushers need to develop a better pass rush toolbox. We talk about it all the time with even NFL draft prospects, right? I remember watching, I know people are always like, oh, like you always bring him up. But like Princely Umamiel, he had a 6 spin move. He had a half spin that he was working on for a while and started breaking it out. But he had those 2 overpowering moves, or the spin move was the overpowering one. The half spin selling your overpowering move is really enticing if you're an offensive tackle. And then he had a bunch of moves that sometimes worked, sometimes didn't, but it was something that offensive linemen had to defend and had to prepare for. If you're breaking out 2 moves, like if you have, if you have a spin move and a long arm, right? which, by the way, if you're going to have two moves, those are probably two pretty good ones to have. But if you're going to have a spin move and a long arm and that's it, then I know that's what I'm prepared for, right? If I see you going wide, I'm assuming you're going to try to spin back in. Yeah, if I see you coming from wide, I'm assuming that you're going to long arm. But if at any other point you do something else, I'm not going to be expecting. I'm not going to be prepared for it. Vita Vea Farm said, my man, Brandon, working overtime this week. Yep. It's signing day. Signing day, right? And I will also say this. This signing day live stream, we're not doing any ads. And the reason that we get to not do any ads is because this isn't going up on audio. Okay. And I'm just saying that to be abundantly clear here. This is not going up on audio, so we don't have to do ads. If there is a coaching staff hire made during this stream, we're going to end this stream, come right back. But since that one's going to go on audio, we're going to have ads in that. So I'm letting you know that right now, that if there's a coaching hire made or a coaching change made, we're going to end this, come right back and go live. So I'm just making that clear. We get to be ad free with that, no audio. So we'd say that. Who are we hearing for OC? Sounds like Buster is gaining serious Momo. Yeah, hopefully it's Buster Faulkner. I'll be honest, like Buster Faulkner's a dude. I'll also say this for the Buster Faulkner stuff, because I know everybody looks at Georgia Tech's offense. And when you think Georgia Tech's offense under Brent Key, you're going to go quarterback run. That's what everyone thinks of, right? Is because you see Haynes King run the football 1,000 times a game. That is not what Buster Faulkner wants to do. Okay. Like this isn't, is he going to ask DJ Lagway to do? This is Buster Faulkner and Georgia Tech do that with Haynes King because Haynes King is their quarterback. Look at Buster Faulkner's OC career prior to Georgia Tech. Quarterback run was still a thing. I'm not taking that away because the RPO is still a part of it. But to run it to the extent that they've run it, that's not something that he's shown a want to as an offensive play caller. Okay, he comes from the hatch attack, which we've talked about the hatch attack before, and he has kind of, I'll say, brought some more spread principles to it. But the hatch attack is air raid style, and the way Buster Faulkner runs it is air raid style, but kind of puts power spread in there, and that makes it really enticing there. For someone who's been tuning out of recruits since Billy was fired, what's changed? Are we anticipating any big Gator commits today? So that's hiring AIOC. No. What's changed is running back Carson Baker decommitted, and that's it. Everybody else has stayed in the class, which I think is incredibly impressive. I will say I give boosters a lot of crap for the way that things are run. I give the administration a lot of crap for the way things are run. Boosters, good job keeping this class together. Off-field staffers, good job keeping this class together. Whoever did it, I've said before, like I think that a lot of it comes down to the money part of this. I think that, teams and schools have started to say, hey, we'll give you this amount of money for a binding agreement, which you can do now with rev share, by the way. Like schools can say, hey, we're going to give you this amount of money, but like you have to come to Florida for it. Yeah, you have to come here for it. And then they come here for it. And so I think that that's something that is an explanation for why most schools that fired head coaches didn't get this mass exodus, right? The only school that really got a mass exodus was Penn State. And that's because their head coach got fired, went somewhere else, and took all of their recruits. Like, that's it. Virginia Tech's going to be competitive in the ACC from day one with James Franklin. Because they're getting a ton of recruits that otherwise wouldn't have been in the ACC. They're getting a bunch of Big Ten recruits. And also, I want to let that shout out to Zach Goodall, who tweeted this, but the rule change that happened in, I want to say September or October, that when a coach is fired, there's no longer that 30-day window that opens up, because what it used to be was if there's a coaching change, a head coaching change, then for 30 days, the transfer portal opens for the players from that team to leave. Okay. And there was a rule again in September or October that's no longer the way it works. Now it's 5 days after a new head coach is hired, a transfer portal window opens for those players. That is also not the case for Florida. That, according to Zach Goodall, is only for changes made between January and June. Okay. So once that's done, you got to wait till January. So we don't need to worry right now about the Florida Gators 5-day window. We need to focus on January for that to happen. Which, by the way, gives Florida's staff about a month to lock in guys that they wanted to lock in, right? And so I think that's really important for Florida. Breaking news: Florida Gators OC Willie Korn. No. Nope. Not Willie Korn, who is stepping away from football, by the way. Fun fact about that one. But this is a Florida Gators class that has stayed together, and that is awesome. Let me see if we can. I know we went by some names there because we had someone ask about the OC. Yeah, if it's Buster Faulkner, I'll be thrilled. I think he's a great offensive coordinator. Great offensive mind. I love what the offense does. And again, I don't expect this to be, if it's him, then we're going to see this basically spread option QB run thing. That's not how it works. Again, I am pretty confident that Buster Faulkner only does that because of who he has at quarterback, being Haynes King, who is, how do I put this gently? Not good. Okay, not good. He'll be a great salesman at some point soon, or an accountant, whatever his major is. He'll be great at that, but that's about it. And so you could say that if it's honestly, the only name that I've heard that I'm like, please don't, is Joey Halsey from Tennessee. That's it. Part-time play caller. I don't want a wide choice offense. I think you'll lose a lot of guys that way. And frankly, I think that's too risky of a hire. Jon Sumrall, sure, he's a risky hire. He's unproven at the Power 4 level to any extent, let alone the SEC. He's a risky hire. I have no problem saying that. Defensive hires, I believe, are riskier than offensive hires. I have no problem saying that. That being said, you can't go risky hire as a head coach and then go, hey, by the way, as a defensive-minded head coach, you can't go risky hire and then say, we're going to go risky hire with offensive coordinator. You just can't do that. That's not winning. That's too much risk, too much volatility. It's a bad decision. So that's the only name I've heard that I'm really against. Cade Bell, I like him. I'd prefer Buster Faulkner. But outside of that, like those are the three names that we've really heard. Brian Dable's been floated. I think he's a much better OC than head coach. I still don't rule him out getting a head coaching job somewhere or an NFL OC job, but also with Penn State right now, struck out on basically everybody they've tried for. Kalani Sitake was supposed to be the hire, which I think would have been awful. So I think they dodged a bullet with that. I think he's a great coach. I just think that he's a perfect fit for BYU and wouldn't be for Penn State. Brian Hartline going to USF, so not Penn State. I don't know what Penn State does at this point. Do you call Dan Mullen and just say, hey, let's try it? I don't know what the plan is there for Penn State, but for the school that was one of the first 3 jobs to open up this cycle to still be vacant on signing day when they have, I think, 3 or 4 commits left. Not a good look for the Nittany Lions. Not a good look. Who else do we have that people are talking about? So Damian Gross is the commit. I'm assuming Davian Gross is the commit that I'm waiting for. Look, I was told he's good. I was told he's in. I was told Caden Hall's in. So, yeah, I was told Davian Gross is good. 6'1", 190. Him and Justin Williams are both, these wide receiver running back hybrids. That'll be really interesting to watch. Especially just hypothetically, if the hire is Buster Faulkner, he's been known to use receivers on jet sweeps a lot, which I know you're going to be terrified of that. I still think that'll be something that you see. I hate to tell you guys this. I think if Buster Faulkner is the hire for offensive coordinator at the University of Florida, this offense starts to look a lot more like Georgia's offense schematically than Georgia Tech's offense. Okay. Buster Faulkner, again, a hatch attack guy that was at Georgia for a couple of years as quality control of quarterback specifically, I think. But he was a QC guy under this offense. I would expect this offense to look a lot more like a Georgia offense than how it's like at Georgia Tech. I feel like a lot of edge rushers that are ranked just rely heavily on their physical abilities more than technique. Yeah, Phantom, you're not wrong, but I think for a lot of guys, that's what it is. I think recruiting has started to kind of shift toward the NFL draft approach and NFL draft model because teams are recruiting with an NFL draft model now where they're looking for, and Florida did this as well. And Florida was open about doing this. And I will openly say, I love the approach if you can develop guys to draft these guys with physical traits that can't be taught somewhere else, right? Like, I'm just going to scroll by a name. Like CJ Bronaugh, right? 6'1", 166, really long arms, aggressive ball hawking mentality, elite speed, great athlete, right? Like those things that you have, huge. And you can't teach. I don't care what anyone tells you when you go, get your head around. When you yell that at a corner, he's not getting his head around, okay? Let you know that right now. That's a thing where it's you either have it or you don't. I'm convinced of that. I think it's very, very rare that you will ever see a corner who's bad at making plays on the ball all of a sudden start making plays on the ball, right? And no, I don't count if you go from a man-heavy defense to a zone-heavy defense, because guess what? In a zone-heavy defense, you're looking at the ball now. Like, you're looking at that. And so, yeah, no, I don't count that. But I will say that, yeah, that speed, length, size, CJ Bronaugh is a physical run defender, especially for a corner. Ball hawking, playmaking, or ball hawking ability, like that stuff, you can't teach. Okay. KJ Ford, 6'3.5", 245 pounds, great first step, good bend, long arms, stuff you can't teach. Physical against the run. Hezi Kent, 6'6", 300 pounds, fast for that size. Okay. Honestly, fast for probably most tight ends. Okay. You've got that. Develop that. Like that's what teams are doing now. They're taking these big athletes and guys with the intangibles that they love and teaching them how to play. That's what it is. It's the NFL draft model, right? Like the NFL draft, we can look at like Anthony Richardson and you can go, oh, his film looks awful. His technique's awful. But if we get him right, he's going to be amazing. And that's what schools are doing with kids. They're going, oh, yeah, like, he needs a lot of work technically. But damn, if we can't teach him how to get better, if we can't teach him how to do these things, then I don't know what to tell you. And so I think that you kind of have that with recruiting overall. And honestly, that's how I like it, right? I think as a coach, part of your job is developing guys. Like, yeah, you have to recruit, but you have to develop as well. And you see that. And also, can I just say, like, Mississippi State flipped someone from Missouri today. And they flipped Braylon Womack, elite safety that Florida was in on at one point earlier this week. I don't know what the hell they got going on in Mississippi State, but clearly they're tired of being a bad defensive team because they took the edge from Missouri. And then now this. So wild. For someone, okay, we spoke about that one. 10 times more excited for next year than I ever have been with Billy. I get it. I like how most of the class stayed. I loved it. Love it. Class without any unknown additions would be at 18-ish. Is that good or bad for incoming coach? Depends. I've started to take the approach. What's good, bro? Happy National Signing Day. I've started to hire the top rated PS5 college football 26 gamer. Please don't. I've started to kind of just look at the recruiting class and go, I'm not going to judge it until after the portal, because like this is no longer a thing where it's like, oh yeah, like you're going huge in high school recruiting and then you're going to grab a couple of portal guys. Bro, I know you're not the guy that said Lane was a done deal to UF. I'm not. I didn't say that. Never in my life. And so, yeah, I don't really judge the recruiting classes anymore until portal's done, because there are times now where, and I know this, where staffs are going to go, we don't like the, I don't know. We don't like the receiver recruiting, like the receiver high school class right now. We don't like the targets. We're going to go dip into the portal, and then we're going to plan that. And so I think teams are planning to use the portal as a somewhat consistent part of their attack. And I think that's great. There are 5 that should be mentioned. Shanahan would be my pick. It's poaching season. Of course, he's talking about Mike Shanahan from Indiana. Great pick. I don't think he's on Florida's list, and I don't think it's happening. So I'm not talking about him. I might be off here, but I recall you mentioning some NFL offensive guy that worked under Sean McVay and is now with the Seahawks. Can you speak more to that guy? McVay seems to breed geniuses. Yeah, that's talking about Jake Peetz. Peetz is his name. He is currently the passing game coordinator for the Seattle Seahawks, which, by the way, hell of a passing tag they got going on right now. Yeah, he's passing game coordinator for the Seattle Seahawks. He spent a few years under Sean McVay recently. He spent a few years under Sean McVay, or he was with Sean McVay in 2014 with the Washington Commanders staff. And Jay Gruden was the head coach there. Sean McVay was OC. Jake Peetz, I think, was receiver coach at that time. Might be mistaken on that one. He was LSU's offensive coordinator in 2020 or 2021, whenever Tyrion Davis-Price ran for 1,000 yards against Florida alone. That was Jake Peetz. Brandon said he was confident in hearing good things, but never that it was a done deal. Yes, correct. I was confident then. I was hearing good things. Or more so, I was saying that I was told that they are really confident. And then I was saying, I think it happens. Didn't happen. I'm cool with Jon Sumrall's hire. Like, I know that a bunch of people have talked about the Jon Sumrall hire and had their takes. And I know that a bunch of the fan base freaked out when it first happened. And then they started coming around to it. Billy Napier was fired. He was a name that we spoke about. So I'm cool with it. Like, and we spoke about coaches that we were mostly cool with the day Billy Napier was fired. So yeah, I'm fine with the Jon Sumrall hire. I like him. I think he's a good football coach. And I think that's the most important part here. He's a good football coach. That's what I care about right now. Someone asked, Morganic Media said, okay, who is officially signed today? According to Gators Online, Florida's on 3, the official signees that have happened are Tyler Chukium, offensive tackle, Justin Williams, wide receiver, Malik Morris, linebacker, Hezi Kent, tight end, Javari Lucas, offensive tackle, CJ Bronaugh, corner, Chancellor Campbell, offensive tackle, Desmond Green, guard, Kevin Ford, edge, Marquez Daniel, wide receiver, Will Griffin, QB, and Corey Brown, walk-on offensive lineman. And so we got that. I'll check the Florida Gators Twitter to see if, or X, whatever the hell you want to call it. I'll check that to see if we have any other answers on that one or any other players that have signed to this point. But also important to remember, a bunch of these guys have like ceremonies that they're still planning on doing. And so we've got that. We got, Will Griffin, I think Will Griffin's still the most recent signee to my knowledge. Quarterback, good player, needs development, but good player. Who else do we have here? Brandon, is Faulkner your number one choice for an OC? Absolutely. Yep. Breaking news: Florida to interview Jon Gruden for OC at 1 p.m. No, he's not. No, they're not. Just don't care. I'm sorry. I can't feed into some of this stuff. Yeah, just nonsensical at times. You know how it is. I missed most of the show. I'm sure you're happy with the class staying, correct? Absolutely very happy with the class staying. I thought we would see quite a few decommits, and we haven't, and that's, again, a really promising thing. Like, no matter how you feel about the Jon Sumrall hire, no matter how you feel about the Billy Napier firing, no matter how you feel about hiring Brad White, no matter how you feel about any of that, to say that Florida up, and we just got the tweet that defensive lineman Kendall Gervil has signed with Florida. So we got that tweet from Florida there. So we got a guy there. But yeah, I will say, no matter how you feel about anything, like, keeping this class together was huge, but also just outright impressive. And I think that for a lot of guys, like for a lot of schools, to keep together, like, get one decommit the whole time. One. And it happened after the hire. Like that's what it was. It happened after the hire. I think that's huge for this class. And for Florida, you got a lot shaping up. We're going to throw on KJ Ford's film here. I just need to find. I hate now how there's a whole bunch of people on Huddle who is just like, yeah, I got this 30-second clip from this game, and it's like, give me the minutes at least. And yes, Harrison, Florida Victorious deserves a ton of credit. They did their whole I forgot the name of I forgot the name of the campaign. But onto the goal or something like that. And that was big there. I don't know what the person said, get over it as for. But yeah, onto the goal was huge for Florida to be able to retain this class once Jon Sumrall got hired. I know a bunch of people probably donated to it thinking that it was going to be Lane Kiffin. Don't know what to tell you about that one. Like I've said before, like I've been giving my money regardless of whatever's happened with this program. I'm going to keep doing it. And so, yeah, I'm looking forward to that one. I'm still looking for KJ Ford's film that's longer than 30 seconds. That's 48 seconds, 40 seconds, 3 minutes and 11 seconds. Okay. I have not watched this particular film before. I'm going to let you know that right now. Have watched KJ Ford, have not watched this game. So can tell you that. It's just I was looking for the most recent one that was a few minutes long. So we will say all that. We will throw this out there. And there we go. We got film here on Locked On Gators for the first time we've ever had it. KJ Ford is number 10. And so that's not a 10 at the edge there. Okay. So KJ Ford, if you can see on screen, right there. Right. That's your guy. I'm going to, sorry, 1 second. I'm just making this wider for me because it's a lot easier to then navigate. Again, we're not doing ads. We are doing film. We get to do that. If there's a coaching hire, we're dropping this and coming right back to go live. But that one will be available for audio. And so we got to do it. So we're going to watch this film of KJ Ford. Again, we know that's not a 10. Those guys are too big to be KJ. He's that edge up top. He is a dude. I can tell you that much. He is a dude. Oh, we got this like zoomed in angle. Yeah. I mean, that I could tell you one thing for sure, just real quick. That offensive tackle is not a great offense. I have no idea who he is, but just watching how he moves, not great. I do like this angle too. I wish it was a little bit better, but you get to see long ass arms. Long ass arms, a little stack to shed by. Love them. Kendall Gervil did sign. Yeah, we talked about that. For a second, I thought I was muted the whole time, and I was going to say that's embarrassing. Kendall Gervil did sign. We talked about that. Big addition for the team, big addition for the class. He's a dude. He got hurt this year and wasn't able to really play the way that he wanted to. But Florida maintained the commitment to him. He maintained the commitment to Florida. That is what it is. Stop trolling Stanford. Oh, Stafford. Yeah. So yeah, again, I really love the way that they're setting this film up. I do. This was not on the film from KJ Ford's last season. I mean, yeah, that's just. Is that a different offensive tackle? Again, doesn't look like a dude, but KJ Ford does, right? We have 7 signed. I don't know what you mean. 7 what? Players? More than 7. More than 7 players signed. But yeah, and like look, like you get the let's go back to this for a second. That's why it was so long, by the way, because all the different angles. That's really it. It's like 5 plays, but it's just all the different angles. But we're going to look at this zoomed in angle. And when you're watching KJ Ford, you see that first off, like the first step to get into the backfield, blew it up if QB kept that, but that little right through the back. You'll see in the SEC teams, you're going to bat him down. Teams will just pat like his nameplate. They'll just send him back there. And you'll see that. But yeah, KJ Ford's just a dude on the edge, long ass arms, like just an alien. Got him in the 3-point. That hand hanging down so low is odd. Not on the ground, but just hanging down so low. We got a tweet from Florida. Okay, just about Kendall Gervil. Yeah, Ford's a dude. Ford is a dude. I like that. Again, I've said this before. Like for someone that looks pretty lean, the way he stacks and sheds is pretty nice. Like he'll just like engage, keep you engaged, and then when he knows which way he needs to go, he'll get there. And I think that that's a great trait of his. We got again, he does that. Like I'm not saying it's a bad thing. It's just odd, but like he gets into this basically 4-point stance, but he's got one hand that just hangs a little bit above the ground. And so I think that that's interesting to see. But yeah, he's got just that one hand that hangs above the ground, but like close to the ground, right? And it's really weird. Again, not saying it's a bad thing. Oh, we actually this angle we're gonna have. I'm pretty sure KJ is gonna be right here. He seems to be lining up over the right tackle every play. So we'll hopefully have him right there. But yeah, I think watching that, it's like one hand on, as I can't show you properly, right? But one hand is on the ground and his other hand's hanging down, and it's like 2 inches above the ground, but just hanging there. And I'm curious if that's just how he moves, right? Like that's like that could just be how he does it. People do weird things all the time. Doesn't necessarily mean it's bad. We're gonna throw this back up on the screen. There we go. And we're gonna get that going. And I'm gonna mute myself because there's a fire siren going on back there. So that's great. Yeah, I think you're watching a freak on the edge. I'm just gonna be honest. Like I think KJ Ford's a freak. The way he just ducks that shoulder. Like we can go back to it, but the way he just ducks under the right tackle right there, just right through. Again, SEC level, that's not going to happen to that extent, right? I realize I also took the play away, and then I tried to tell you about it. But like the way he just right there, number 70, I'm like pointing to it with my hand. Right here, the way he just dips inside that shoulder, dunzo. SEC level, it's not going to happen to that extent, which is fair and expected, I think. But just having that little dip of the shoulder there, big, huge. And again, to be able to get under those big guys is going to be beneficial. Again, SEC off that right tackle. I have no idea who he is. I apologize if he's like, I apologize if that's like a 5-star offensive tackle. And I was like, that kid does not look like an SEC caliber player. But that's the reality of the situation that we live in, right? Someone said, have we got any O-line commits? Yeah, we've got 3 signed, right? 3 signed, maybe 4. Got Corey Brown, the walk-on. You got Tyler Chukium. You got Chancellor Campbell signed. You got Jabari Lucas signed. I think the only one that we're waiting to sign is Janari Carr. Yeah. Seems like Janari Carr is the only offensive lineman that hasn't signed yet. Ray Graves Goat said Klein to Kansas State. Hopefully brings Texas A&M's offense back down to earth. Yeah. Oh yeah, and we got Desmond Green signed as well. So yeah, Colin Klein going to Kansas State would be big. Of course, Chris Kleiman reportedly retiring. And Colin Klein is the name there. A Florida native ready for the swamp. What do we have there? Janari Carr has signed. All the offensive linemen are signed for the 2026 class. But yeah, Colin Klein, first off, one of my favorite OCs in the country. I think that he runs the power spread better than probably anybody. And I mean like a pure power spread, probably runs it better than anybody. So really looking forward to that one. I'm also really looking forward to having him not at Texas A&M anymore, because I do think that offense will come back down to earth. Intriguing to know, or I'm intrigued to know who's going to replace him there. I don't know what their assistant staff looks like. So maybe someone like QB coach or something like that, but we'll see that. But Colin Klein at Kansas State's he's going to recruit so well, because he was so good as Kansas State's quarterback, like 12 years ago, something like that, probably. There's a lot of these guys that he's going to be recruiting. We're not around to see him, but he's going to get to pitch that and talk about that, and that's going to be huge for him. If there's any other players that people want to talk about or watch, just throw them in the chat, and we'll see if we can find quality film for them. But yeah, I think that when you watch KJ Ford, you're looking at just, again, a dude with freaky physical traits, and that's what you're looking for. Like you want someone who you could just say, hey, physically, we don't have that, right? Physically, we can't replicate that. Physically, not everyone's going to have that. Let's make him technically better while he's physically what everyone wants. Let's talk about it. I think just since we don't have a name that anyone threw out there, I think just for Shiggles, I'm gonna pull someone up. And yes, I said Shiggles. If you know what Shiggles are, then you know what Shiggles are. If you don't know what Shiggles are, look it up. I'm intrigued to know what kind of offense Sumrall will run. Depends on who his hire is going to be. Really, that's all I could say about it. It just depends on who his hire is going to be. If it's Buster Faulkner, it's going to be a fun offense. I can tell you that. Like, that's another thing I'll say. When people talk about the that's crazy that you said Williams, because when I was like, oh, just for Shiggles, I'm pulling someone up, and it was Justin Williams. But when people talk about this coordinator thing, elite coordinator, that by the way, the boosters said, Florida never said, Sumrall never said. Brandon, are you covering this all day? We're going to go for a while right now. Later on, we'll probably go live again to just talk about the overall class. I wanted to go live this time so we could watch film if we want to. Again, like I said, like this live stream is ad free because it's not going on audio. If there's breaking news about an offensive coordinator or anything, we're going to end this and then come right back to going live so that one will have ads and will be available to the audio listeners. So we'll have all that. I looked up Justin Williams huddle, and it was Justin Williams from Gainesville. And then the very next one is Justin Williams from Lincoln High School. Lincoln High School in Brooklyn, class of 2018, which means that I played Lincoln when I was in high school. So chance I played that kid. But I'm going to say he's not in the league or anything right now. Yeah, so if there's news, we'll drop this, and then we'll come right back to going live, and we'll talk about the coordinator hire. As far as if we're covering this all day, we're going to cover this for a bit. I do have another interview to set up for later on that'll hopefully be on tomorrow's show if we can make that happen. I sent it to the Insider program. It'll be Maddie Hudak, who she came on the show last year prior to the bowl game. She's covered Tulane for years. She was there before Jon Sumrall. She'll be there after Jon Sumrall. She'll tell us about Jon Sumrall. And so really looking forward to having Maddie there. Been very good friends for a long time now. So looking forward to that one. But we're going to pull up Justin Williams' film here and look at him. But so we'll be covering this, but maybe not live the whole time. You know, again, like I said, once everybody's signed, unless everybody signs, like if everybody signs while we're live, then we're not going live again to talk about how everybody signed. But that's what you got right now. So we're going to watch Justin Williams, see if we can find film. Oh, hate the audio. I don't know if you guys heard it just coming from my screen, but I hate the audio. That one's a minute and a half. Come on now. If this is about to play audio again, I'm going to hate myself. I'll check that right now. Yep, there we go. Okay. You know what? I'm going to just not be an idiot. I'm going to just mute my microphone or just mute my speakers. They're all a minute and 35 seconds. Did they just do game recaps for Buchholz this year? They didn't do. Yeah, I think they just did game recaps. I don't think they necessarily did individual players. Let me see if that is just Justin Williams. Looks like it might be. Is that him? Yeah, 13. Okay, so it looks like it's just him. I will say this also. I can tell you right now that I hate that they tell you what play is coming. I can tell you now that I hate that they tell you what play is coming or what result you're about to see, just because that's a very frustrating and annoying thing to see there. We'll talk about other players. Andres, I'm assuming you want to watch Hezi Kent after is what you were saying, which, yeah, we can throw on Hezi's film. Can Florida land a top 5 class this year or at least top 10? Top 5 ain't happening. Top 10 might with Portal, but top 10 ain't happening. Did you see Ali and Danny Werfel's interview? Interesting for his take on the process. I did not. I will later. I saw it like when I woke up. I saw a clip of it on social media, and I was like, I need to get ready for this instead. So we're gonna watch Justin Williams' film here. This is Buchholz versus Bartram Trail. And hold on, real quick. I'm sorry. Stafford, you need to be put in timeout for a bit. That's just I'm tired of it. Big ones we're waiting for is a wide receiver. Yeah, Davion Gross has not yet. And then we'll talk about Justin Williams here. 2-minute clip. He's gonna take that handoff on a little pop pass, which isn't surprising. She's gone. Like he looks like he's a better athlete than basically everybody that is on the field with, right? He's running that corner. Yeah. He looks like he's a better athlete than just about everybody, right? I hate that they tell you what it is, but I'm just gonna heave it. Yeah, I feel like he's genuinely just a better athlete than everybody that he's out there with. I will say this, and I have said this before. Okay, well, that's not him. I will say that for Justin Williams, when you watch him, just the way he moves, right? Just the way he moves, looks like a really good athlete. I have pretty consistently said that I don't think he's going to have that same, game breaking ability that we saw a lot of. There's Justin Williams in the backfield. Gone. That stuff used to piss me off. If I'm coming from an angle and you just juke behind me, that used to piss me off so much. There's Justin Williams blocking. Yeah. Little bump. Not a good block. Not a good. I get it. You bumped him. You stopped him. Good job. You did your part, but wasn't a good block. I will say that. But yeah, I'm not too certain how he's going to translate to the SEC. Like, I don't think he's going to be picking up these consistent, huge, like 60-yard touchdowns in the SEC level. Like, I think he's at high school fast enough to get by everybody, fast enough to not get caught by everybody. But is he? Like, I know people like to go, "Oh, Percy Harvin." Like, I'm just going to be honest with you. I love his film. He's not Percy Harvin. He's just, and that's. First off, if you're doing that, that's on you. Like, that's your fault for trying to set that comparison, because it's frankly not a good one. Here we go. This is from last year. We'll watch it anyway because it's still Justin Williams' film. But this is from last year. 8 minutes. North Central Florida Player of the Year, and we'll watch this film of him where it's gonna be a lot of touchdowns, right? We have no doubt about that one. He's a dude. I also love that they're circling him now. I just like, this is the film that we talked about when he committed. I love that he's just got natural, like, this little, once he gets a feel for it, it's just a little through, sliver, spin move, and just gone. Like that 13 took a good angle at first, but man, Bo Jackson used to say, I raised their angles with acceleration, and that's what he did. Again, that little smooth. Oh, there's a holding call there, but he's just such a good athlete at this level. I'm really looking forward to seeing what he is, because I'm not saying that he's not going to be able to create against SEC players, but I am going to say that I need to see him do it. I don't know what his 40 time is, but he's a dynamic playmaker, and Florida keyed in on that, right? With him and Davion Gross, that's two guys that play receiver, running back hybrid roles. And that's just a really fun combination to have, right? Like, you could do a lot with that. You throw screens and make some big plays there. You can create a lot. Remember this play. That's my favorite play out of his film. Tell you that much. That is my favorite play of Justin Williams' film, because that is the most acrobatic catch you're going to see from him, if I'm not mistaken. But just watching that, like the over the shoulder, tracking the slide and still to reel it in, That's a great play. Like, that's a wide receiver play. I know we could talk about all of the, he had this, this huge kick return touchdown or this huge play. But like that catch, that's the stuff that I want to see. Like that's the kind of stuff that you watch and you go, all right, there we go. Over the shoulder, outside leverage, slides to it, reels it in. That's a hell of a play. Like that is the kind of stuff we're talking about as just an elite play. The fade, yeah. Great throw too, by the way. Like that one, that was a great throw. Hell of a ball. And there you go. Great concentration. I think that's one of the biggest things you could see from him is just that concentration of the one over the shoulder, the tap up, like that's great. And then just house. Yeah. He makes some great catches. I'm really looking forward to that. Honestly, I do think as a pure receiver, he might have just elite ball skills for it. Like again, I've said I don't like he's not you're not torching SEC DBs like that. You're not torching an SEC defense to this extent. Like he's not that. It's not Zachariah Branch. Like you're not blowing by an SEC defense like that. You could do that in high school. You're not doing that. But when you look at the actual traits he has, like the concentration, the ability to reel in just wild catches, that's big. That's what we'll look for, and that's what we'll translate. And there's just, go up the way he high points it too. And then just the contact balance is crazy. That contact balance is one of the reasons that I view him and I go, I don't know if he's a receiver or running back long-term. I think he might just be a gadget, which I know a lot of people hate hearing. I don't think that's a negative. I don't think saying someone's a gadget is a negative at all. I think being a gadget is impressive. And valuable. Kadarius only got drafted in the first round to be a gadget. Did he work out? No, but he got drafted in the first round to be a gadget. Guys get drafted to be gadgets. And yeah, like dude's just making plays here in the backfield again. Yep. I have no idea what that safety was doing. I have no idea what that safety was doing. Great job making the play, but no idea what the hell that was. That's wide open. Yeah, look at that. Call that WAO, wide ass open. Tutty. Yeah. Again, just like stupid catches at times. Just stupid. This is a great angle. I mean, they have a drone. It's like the Bijan Robinson angle where it just like goes nuts following him. Great angle. Yep, again. A little bit of push off too, which I like. If they're not calling it, do it. Right? Like it's as simple as that. If they're not calling push offs, then do it. That's a touchdown too. Horrible camera angle. Didn't get to see the catch or anything. Fire the cameraman. Oh, that's a touchdown. I feel like anytime you watch someone press up on him at the high school level, stupid. Just great catches. He just makes great catches, and that's so impressive. That's the most impressive part of his film. Like again, I don't know what he's going to be long term. I don't know where he's going to line up long term. I don't know about any of that. But you throw him into the slot. You let him run that little Trey Wilson motion, and you throw it to him on a dig, whatever it is. It's great. Wide receiver Calvin Russell will not sign today with Syracuse. Might be a Miami guy. Might be a Miami guy. But yeah, like this. Like let him do that. Let him do that in the SEC, and he'll be productive. He'll be able to make plays. And he's just someone that you got to just get in the ball. Because that's one difference between him and a lot of those gadget guys that we talk about with high school is you'll see him actually like break out moves. He's not just outrunning people. And I feel like you see that with a lot of these kids in high school is that they just outrun people. And like, I don't care if you're out athleting people. That's not what I care about. I care about you being able to do the right thing and make plays, right? And so like looking at that, that's what I want to see, right? That's it. Justin Williams is listed as 5'11", 190, by the way. Just so we have that one. 5'11", 190. Hooper, by the way. Hooper. Muting for a second to get water. You guys can enjoy watching the highlight reel that is Justin Williams, because let me tell you, a lot of them. Again, just a stupid catch. Just a stupid catch by the sideline. Again, this like drone angle. I love it. Come back toe tap again. Bad angle, but still toe tap. Great play. Yeah, I also think it's important. You know, he's clearly just got great like they've just got great chemistry over there. I feel like that's like the way in which he gets the ball thrown to him pretty much perfectly out of the break. Like that's great stuff. And again, like he's just a playmaker. Like which is the best way to describe him. That's the best thing to be, right? Is a playmaker. I think that when you watch him play, you see that pretty consistently, and he's just a dude. Like there's no other way to put it. He's just a dude, hell of a receiver. Did not want to press play again. Wanted to end that one. We'll pull this to the side for a bit. Who do we want to? Hezi Kent was the next name that we wanted to see, right? If there's any other names that people want to say or want to see, just throw them into the chat and we'll get to them for a bit. Again, we're not going to spend, all day talking about guys, but we will spend some pretty significant time. I'm also just I'm trying to watch back to see if we're stuttering at all in the live stream from watching a video while also live streaming a video. And so far we look like we're good. Have never really done the live stream watching film, but yeah, I mean it's a damn good time, right? We're watching a damn good football team or a damn good recruiting class, I'll say, because again, like I love this class. I don't know how people could say they don't. We watched KJ Ford already, so unfortunately when we not be pulling him up again. We're gonna go to Hezi Kent right now because that was the last name that was the next name that I saw suggested was from Andres T. We'll get to Will Griffin after. We can do Will Griffin. See if we could find Hezi Kent film. How long is this? All right, we got 4 minutes of Hezi Kent. So we'll see Hezi Kent. Throw him up. There we go. He's pretty easy to tell, by the way. He's the giant one standing right there. He's the one that looks like the offensive lineman that is lined up out wide. He's flexed out. That's what you're looking for. And yeah, he's just, I mean, I would not want to guard him. I'm just going to be completely honest. Like, you're not pressing that. You're not getting by that. You're not doing anything to that. You're just not. Dudes that big, you press them, and they're gone. Like they're just gonna mow you down, run right through you. Look at like look at that. That's just what they're just gonna show. That. Oh my goodness, what a stupid play. What a stupid play that was. Just mow him down and then still just get up and run after. Yeah, he's just a dude. Hezi Kent's a monster. I really I don't know how to explain it. He just is what he is. Catching screen passes at 300 pounds. Caden Proctor got nothing on Hezi Kent, right? Caden Proctor's got nothing on Hezi Kent. I will say this though. I think it's pretty obvious that he's. Yeah, I don't view him as this insane tight end prospect. I really don't. I view him as an insane tight end prospect in the sense that he's just a massive anomaly, right? But like I don't know. I watch him move, and I don't think that's separating against an SEC linebacker. I really don't. Just got here, so I don't know if this has been talked about, but are we going to flip anyone? There's a couple names that Florida's targeting. I'm not sure how realistic that they are. Blanking on his name right now, but there's a safety committed to LSU that Florida's looking at. And outside of that, I don't think anything's really happening if it happens today. Or if it happens, I don't think it happens today. Yeah, I think that's not Hezi Kent. I don't know where that circle went. That's not Hezi Kent. Yeah, I don't think that's separating very much. I think the big selling point is that it's going to be really tough to tackle him. And just having that versatility is huge, right? Because he's still going to be a good blocker. He's still going to be a good blocker at that size. He's nimble for his size too. And this is that's straight line speed getting out there. But it's also just wild to me how much faster he is with the ball in his hands than without it. He looks like he's jogging. And then he just bullies. And you're going to be able to bully SEC corners and safeties if you're flexed out. Because that's also the big. I'm going to pause this for a second to go off on a little bit. We'll let this wrap up. There's 40 seconds left. But with Hezi, there's a lot that you can talk about and go all right, well, we'll see what we're getting there from him. But I do think that you're getting someone with honestly just a great skill set. It's just you got a unicorn, right? Is he a tight end? Is he an offensive lineman? He wants to be a tight end. We're gonna let him try tight end, but who knows what he's going to be long term, right? And that's always been the question surrounding him. Is he good? It's where do you play him? And I know people go, he could be Darnell Washington. He could be. He could also just not be. He could also not be. That's also a very real possibility. But with Hezi Kent, one of the things with him that I think makes him really difficult is just the numbers game that he makes you play that you probably don't want to play. And by that I mean you have Hezi Kent, we'll say out wide, right? Because I think that there might be more value for him out wide where you can motion him in than just starting him inside. Because if you start him out wide and you got a linebacker out there, you can go, all right, well, maybe man coverage if the linebacker's on him. But also that means that there's one less linebacker in the box. And so then you have to kind of just do the math of do you want to motion him in? And we're bringing a linebacker in, but we're also bringing a 300-pound tight end, and he's going to be able to block and make a play there. We can do a lot with the numbers game there. Even if he's in the slot, he can come across and crack someone. But also, if he's in the slot, if you put a safety on him or any team's star, those guys are usually 6 feet, 6'1". You're going to put that on 6'6", 300 pounds? I'm not. I think one of his biggest selling points is that if he's playing tight end, you need to put a linebacker on him or a really tall safety. And even then, I don't know if that's a great move. Right? I don't know if that's a great move there. But I do think that you get that numbers game that's really impressive and really important. Because again, if I can say, hey, we're going to dictate who you have in the box. Like we're going to dictate who you have there. And if you don't want us to dictate that, then we're going to have numbers somewhere. I think that's big. I think that's a massive selling point for Hezi Kent. I think that's where his value lies, honestly, is not what he does, but his gravity. I think that's really important. And like a player's gravity is really important. In basketball, having a player that has the gravity to dribble drive, cause the defense to collapse, and then kick out, like that's huge. In football, having the gravity where you go, hey, they got Hezi out there. We've got to have, this linebacker. If you're guarding Hezi, you probably want to go, hey, like if he's against Florida, you want to go, we got to have Miles Graham on him. Like we have to. Has to be Miles Graham because he's the only one tall enough, fast enough, strong enough to do it. And Miles Graham still gives up, 5.5 inches of height, 5 inches of height. But thank you, Scott. But like Sharif Denson's 6 feet tall, which I don't even believe. I think he's like 5'11", 5'10". But I'm not going to put that on Hezi Kent. I'm not going to put Cormani McLean on Hezi Kent because Hezi's just going to plow through him, right? I'm not going to put Jabari Flowers on him at 5'10" and light because he's just going to plow through him. I need to put a linebacker on him that can stick with him and cover him as best as possible and is strong enough to not get just ran through. But that also gives the offense the numbers advantage when it comes to running the football. And that makes things really difficult. And so I think that's where Hezi Kent's true value lies. Like he can be a tight end and he can have, 20 catches on the year. If he's got gravity, he's got gravity. And again, that's where the value lies in him. It's not just his skill set outright, it's his gravity. And like T said, like he'd be a matchup nightmare. He would be. And he creates other mismatches for your offense. That's a huge selling point for Hezi Kent. Again, I would still tell him outright, I'd be like, look, like if you start now, you could be a really good offensive tackle. Like, because here's the thing too, you can't come play tight end for 2 or 3 years and then move to offensive tackle. You can't, because you're not. By the time you make that transition, you're gonna have to redshirt to learn the position and be able to adapt to it. You can't play tight end for 2 or 3 years and then move to offensive tackle. This needs to be like, hey, 1 year at tight end. Even if you don't play, we'll see what you are in practice. And if in practice we think that you're someone that can separate, then we'll play you there. It's like outside of that, you're going to be a tackle that maybe will go tackle eligible and throw it to you every now and then. But we're not going to have this insane stuff. He is tough to tackle, but like, did you see him hurdle anybody? I didn't see him hurdle anybody. I'm ankle biting. I'll tell you that right now. I've got no problem saying I'm ankle biting. Like yeah. And if he starts hurdling, good luck, right? Like if that dude starts hurdling you, then all right, you win. Good job. But I'm ankle biting, and we're gonna see what happens. We're gonna see what you do with me grabbing your ankles and holding on for dear life. And so we could say that. Who's the next one? Will Griffin was the next person that we saw. And yeah, like that's the thing. He moves well for a big man, right? But this is the same argument as DJ Lagway's elite for a freshman. And it's like, okay, sure. But he's not facing an all freshman team. Like he's facing seniors and 24 and 25-year-olds. Like he's not facing an all freshman team. Hezi Kent's not facing an all big dude team, right? Like he's not. Like, yeah, he'd be the best athlete on any all big guy league. He'd be the best athlete on any just straight up big man team. DJ Lagway would have been the best freshman amongst any just true freshman league, right? But that's not what they play. They play everybody. And I know you're not saying that they play everybody. I know you're just making the point that he can move well for a big man. But I think that it's important for fans to recognize that, like, as cool as that is, that's not all you're playing. Like, that's not, you can't just be, oh yeah, he's good for this. You got to be good. And then you can add like, oh yeah, especially for a big, like that's the thing. You could say, oh, he moves well, especially for a big man. That's it. We got this for Will Griffin. How long is this one? 6.5 minutes. All right, we got a 6.5 minute clip for Will Griffin that we'll cut on. And we'll see what we're going to get in this. Again, like most of these clips, I have not watched. I'm trying intentionally to, even if it's a little bit older. I haven't seen this clip, but I'm trying intentionally to pick clips that I haven't watched that we're both mostly experiencing this at the same time. Fought for the first down. I wish we knew what down that was. Good ball. Good catch, too. How is that not flagged? Thought that DB got there early. Good rip. I'll tell you this, just based on these couple of throws, he looks like he's throwing more comfortably than he did the year prior. That one was all right. I don't like his mechanics on that one. He looks like he's genuinely improved a good bit from his 2024 film. That's a hell of a catch. Yeah, he looks like he's got a lot more zip on the ball than he used to be, and I do think it's his mechanics mostly. Bash. That, can we talk about that for a second? Can we acknowledge that? Like for everybody that goes, oh, well, you know, Buster Faulkner, if he's the OC hire, likes to QB run. Is Will Griffin not seem like a guy where you go, yeah, he can easily run a power spread? Like, I'm not saying he's this elite guy. I'm just saying like running, is this, I think this is bash. Right? Counter bash? Yep. Counter bash, keeps it. Boom. Like that's a Buster Faulkner, Georgia Tech offense guy. And he just like he just looks a lot more fluid than he used to. Good hell of a play fake. Hell of a play fake. Yeah, he looks a lot better than he used to. Like that play fake. That was a crazy call. I like the way that he sells it. I don't know. I get skittish of those like the handoffs where the quarterback turns and sells it for like a full like second and then turns back, scare the crap out of me. They really do. Yep. Man, he's gotten better. He's someone when he committed, you can go back, we were talking about it. I mean, like, look, he's got a lot of work to do, right? But he's gotten a lot better. He's developed a good bit. That receiver looks pretty fast. He's going to get lit up. Nope. Got taken out there, but first down. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like his last film, like his last year's film, he was running a lot more and breaking off these big long runs, and I feel like we haven't seen that to this point yet. But my thing was when he committed and watching his film prior was like he's not going to do that at the SEC level. Similar to how I was talking about with Justin Williams, like he's not outrunning everybody at the SEC level to this extent. And right now he's not even trying that, right? Great ball. How far is that in the air? 45 yards. All right, 45? Yeah, 45 yards, 46. With it going into the end zone, probably 50-yard throw. Great ball. Just outright great ball. I'm not going to say Jackson Dart. Like, I don't think he's got Jackson Dart's arm. Jackson Dart has a crazy arm. But, like, again, like, he looks decently better. Like when we talk about that kid's wild. I don't know who the hell that kid was, but that kid is wild. But when we're talking about like Will Griffin, one of the things with like velocity on a throw, which a lot of people just said, like that's what I think about when I think like arm talent, arm power, throw power, whatever. It's not how far you can throw it. It's how far can your pass go and still have zip on it, I'll say. And for a lot of guys, like when they don't have that zip, it's oftentimes mechanical. Rodney Cleveland has flipped from Texas to North Carolina. Wow. How the mighty have fallen, right? A bad spot to be in. I don't know. I would want to be there, right? But so yeah, I think that when you talk about like zip, it's really about how, or arm power, throw power, whatever. It's really how far can your pass travel and still have zip on it. And for a lot of kids, like you'll see it, and it's like you're trying to just with DJ Lagway, for example, in high school, he was constantly throwing off platform, and the ball was flying, like just ripping. And it was like, okay, that's an elite arm. Will Griffin, ball has decent zip on it when he's off platform, but when he's on platform now, like when he's just stepping, striking, throwing, and driving, a lot more velocity on it. Like from this year's film compared to last year, he's got a lot more zip on it. And a lot of it comes from like watching him throw, just stepping and really just driving off that front foot. He's doing a great job of it in these clips, at least. And that's the thing too. Like we're watching highlight clips. Remember that we're watching highlight film right now. We're not watching the full game film. So we're only watching the good. Again, great play fake. 99 play action rating in Madden. Just gonna throw that out there. Patient. Is his line just like demons? Like I feel like he's so comfortable just sitting back there. 4-man rush. They're handling work. Yeah, I think they got flagged. I think that right tackle held. I got the play fake, the little pull, keep it going. Yeah, that pull's smooth. Is that what so I hate this. I just want to throw this out here. I hate this setup right there where the running back is in front of the quarterback, because there is little to no threat of handing that football off at that point. Because what, the running back's going to reach behind him and pull it? Like, no. So there's little to no threat of running the football at that point with your running back. And so I hate it, because that's a tell that, hey, this is either a QB run or a pass. That's it. And like, those are your two options. And I hate having that as your only two options. So I just want to throw that out there, that I hate that. Look at it. Ripped it. Great catch too, but ripped it. Man, he's ripping in this film. He is. He's improved. I don't think he needed to dive for that one, but I get it. That'll look good on your highlights. There we go. Yep. Receivers did a bad job selling that. They pretty clearly knew he was running it. Take off. Sheesh. Bucket. Bucket. No other way to put it. Bucket. Good drive on a throw. That meant what? That from the 50 to the out of 40-yard throw. That's pretty good drive on it. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not saying all of his throws are perfect or all of his traits are perfect. Simple screen, touchdown, good job. But that was really good drive on a 40-yard throw. Didn't step into that one at all. Lofted it a bit, but look, he doesn't get to step into that one at all. He's got the free rusher coming in. He's just gotta. That's like what Lagway was doing against USF, where he's just fading away and checking it. Like that's all that was. That's a pretty good ball for it. Or a pretty good placement for it. There was almost no zip on that, which is what I'm talking about, right? Like when you see his zip is when he gets to step into it and rip it. When you watch him throw off platform, he's like a decent placement. He's like a decent decent distance on it, but like he's not gripping and ripping, and he's not just throwing while getting crushed. He's not ripping that thing. But when he gets to step and drive and throw, rips. When he's throwing off platform, not so much. So that's why I like Organic Media. You said Jackson Dart, like no, Jackson Dart, if he's throwing off platform, he's ripping that thing. That kid, Will Griffin, he needs to step into it. And that's okay too. Like I'm not saying that he's bad because of that. It's just he's better on platform, on schedule. And so I think that's just a guy where you go, all right, like we've got to get him those throws. Which, yeah, he can be really good. I think especially when you look at him in structure, his arm, great. Out of structure, his arm, pretty good. But once you get out of structure, then you add his legs into the mix, and it's a lot. And I think that's really helpful for him. Under center. Play fake. Yep. Cameraman sucks. Screen. I don't care. Like I don't care what he's doing for a screen unless he's coming to block downfield. I don't care about the stats you get from a screen. Good read. Hole shot? Did we just get a hole shot? I don't know if we got a hole shot or if that was quarters and the corner. There's this corner right here. Pretty sure it was him. Corner right here. Is this 2 or 4? I think that's 4. That's 4. Okay. So this corner just screwed it. This corner comes down on the out route, and he's just gone to the sideline. This is quarters, so that corner that comes down is supposed to have whichever receiver Will just threw to. That corner's supposed to have that receiver. Usually in quarters, you have man outside and deep mod, and you're supposed to be backing up. And if someone goes deep, that's your responsibility. If someone goes out, that's it. Dart wasn't ripping it off platform in high school. Kinda. Kinda was. I'm not gonna lie to you. Or at least I felt like he was. But also, yeah, like Dart got better. But yeah, I think that when you look at that play, like quarters, corner, you're supposed to have, if the receiver goes deep, that's your responsibility. If the receiver comes outside or stays outside, that's your responsibility. So if he runs like a curl, that's still you. Here, shallow out. I don't know what it was. It just looks like, is that just Ohio? But yeah, so you got shallow out. Yeah, it's just Ohio outside, outside vert, inside out route. Very simple. And corner just screwed it up. I don't know what to tell you. But great throw by Will to identify it and hit that one. Smash. I mean, hey, you got the ball to your receiver, right? At least showed a little bit of touch. We got a double reverse. Yep. Open. Jumped into he jumped into that one. George. I don't know what just happened there. But Brent Key, 5-year deal at Georgia Tech. We'll hope he doesn't have his offensive coordinator with him, right? Yeah, good ball. Again, just the jump into it is great. just chuck that one. He shot putted that throw. What is that? Someone said Under Armour. Oh, the Under Armour All-American game. Good size and pocket presence. Did well in the Under Armour All-American game in Deland. Calm against great competition. Yeah, I mean, look, that's what, from the 47, so 46 or 48. Yeah, good ball, good throw. Again, just right in the bucket. I do like his deep ball. Good patience on that. Like that's one of those things where with screen passes like that, like you have to be open to getting hit. You do. You have to be open to taking a shot because that buys you more time. If they're pinning their ears back, they're going. Like look at how many guys by the time he releases the ball, he's got that guy's rearing in on him, 2 coming around. That guy abandoned whatever he was going to do. Yep. Linebacker came running in, blew it up. Like if linebacker covers that screen, that's not there. It's a great play to end on for him. Not gonna lie. Not gonna hold you on it. That's a great play for Will Griffin to end on. Good film. Like this class is really talented. I saw someone, who was it? Let me find it. We had a lot of people talk about Will Griffin film there. Someone asked a question before that I'm gonna get to. There we go. Psych Hisoka said, who's the most underrated person in this class? I'm going to show you exactly who I think the most underrated player in this class is. I've been very open about it. Never hid it. I will not hide it. I think he's a tremendous football player. I think he's an elite recruit. And I am amazed that he was not rated higher. I thought for sure he was going to take a big jump ranking wise. Georgia wanted them, everyone wanted them. And by the way, I just want to throw this out there. The film that you're about to watch is film from last year. Okay, so this isn't even his most recent film. This is film from his junior year that you're going to watch because there's no senior year film available on it. So you're going to have that. Tyler Chukium, offensive lineman. I think he's a beast. I'm going to be completely honest with you. Let me see him at offensive tackle for the Florida Gators for a few years. Develop, get him going. He's got elite physical traits. Let him speak for himself, right? Or let the film speak for himself. We got the picture of him, number 50. You know what he looks like? Yep, right tackle there. Body. Again, like I don't care, frankly, if an offensive tackle is putting someone in the ground. I care that you're winning your reps. And you're going to see that happen a good bit. Right tackle downfield. Just hunting. Yeah. I think for me, one of the best, he's just still going. I think for me, one of the best things about Tyler Chukium is that his footwork to play offensive tackle is great. Wide zone. Look at that. He just one-armed the edge rusher for a second. He just one-armed the edge rusher for a second. All right, boom. Holds him. Still holding his ground, by the way. Like he's one arm blocking this kid. He's one arm holding his ground on this edge. And then he just leaks out and barely cleaned up the corner there. Drive, always. I don't care what the QB's doing, right? I also don't know why the QB's wearing all white right there. Wait for it. Okay, we gotta wait for it. Body. Yeah, I just I love his film. And I've been open about this before, and I'll tell you this while we watch this, and I'm gonna say this and then go back and watch this. So in addition to covering the Florida Gators, I cover the New York Giants as well, and I spent the whole spring and summer covering them in person. And when we were there, I was talking with offensive tackle Jermaine Illuminor, and Jermaine Illuminor, offensive tackle, has played offensive tackle and has played guard, both in the NFL, both starter quality, both got paid. He's got paid to play both spots. He's done it for a long time. And the Giants made the move of sending offensive tackle Evan Neal, moving him into guard, right? And so when they made the move to guard, because Evan Neal's giant, right? He's like 6'7". He's a giant dude. And when he moved to guard, we asked Jermaine Illuminor about it. And Jermaine Illuminor basically said, like, we're at a point where teams aren't caring anymore if it's what used to be. He doesn't have long enough arms to play tackle, so he's going to play guard. And teams don't care about that anymore. Will Campbell was just drafted, 4th overall? And he's got T-Rex arms, right? But what they care about is the footwork, especially now as edge rushers are lighter than they've ever been. Now they care about saying, do you have the footwork to go set against an edge rusher with an elite first step off the edge? And those edge rushers with elite first steps, if they're not getting by you and around you that way, they're going to inside counter and try to get by you that way. And so now you need an offensive tackle that can step out and come back in for the counter. And I think that you're looking at footwork more than anything else. That's what teams are looking for. They're looking for footwork, foot agility, mobility there. And I think that that's huge. Sorry, I'm just reading that comment that said, who is Buster Faulkner and is he a decent hire? Has he been hired officially? Have we seen that? If we saw that, I'm going to freak out. It'll be a good reason to freak out, but that's you saying is he a good hire made it sound like that's been announced. And we'll see there. So I'm looking. I'm looking. I've been very open. If it's Buster Faulkner, I'm going to be really excited. Yeah. Okay. There's a report that he's been offered OC at a couple of SEC schools. So we'll see what that's going to look like. It won't be Auburn because that'll be Alex Golesh. So it won't be Auburn. I don't think it'd be Ryan Silverfield either because that's Memphis. I don't think it'll be LSU because that's Lane and Charlie Weiss. And when I said Memphis, I meant like that's the Memphis offense. Won't be Lane and LSU because Charlie Weiss could be Ole Miss. It could be Ole Miss. If he actually has been offered the OC job at a couple of SEC schools, could be Ole Miss. Alex Golesh calls plays. I don't know if he's going to at Auburn, but a wide choice coach isn't hiring Buster Faulkner to run his offense. And if he is, he's given up on the wide choice or moving on from the wide choice. So that's why I don't think it'll be Golesh, right? Like I'm trying to think that it won't be an offensive-minded coach because they have their systems that they want to run. And for Buster, that just doesn't make sense. Like if you're taking an OC job and you have to run like Alex Golesh's system or have Alex Golesh's offense infused in yours, or if you're taking like, again, it's not happening, but like Ryan Silverfield with Arkansas, if you're taking the Arkansas OC job, you're going to have to run what Ryan Silverfield wants you to run. And I think that's a risk to take as an OC if you're already an OC at the Power 4 level, right? Like if you're an OC at the Power 4 level and you go to work under an offensive-minded head coach, you're going to have to run at least some of his offense. And that means running new things for you, which just doesn't seem like a great idea. So if he has been offered another OC job, I would imagine Ole Miss is in there. In which case this could be one of those times where it's like, because I think it was On3 said that Buster Faulkner is the favorite for the Florida job. Like he could be the favorite for a Florida job, but Florida might not be the favorite for him, you know? And so we'll see if that report is true that he's been offered the OC job in multiple SEC schools. I will also say this. I think Florida is a much better job to take an OC spot than Ole Miss is. Just in terms of just the pure athletes you're going to have access to year in, year out. I think that's big. So yeah, we'll keep looking at Tyler Chukium here. Right tackle. Great film. Love it. Been very open about it. Since the day I watched his film, I was like, I love this kid's film. He's just a dude. He's a great football. And look, his technique needs a lot of work, right? Weiss returned to Ole Miss for the playoffs. And that's it. That's what Weiss returned to Ole Miss for. But he's signed a contract with LSU that he's going to be the OC whenever Ole Miss gets eliminated. Because think about it that way. Like if Weiss is the OC and Ole Miss goes and wins the championship, that means that the championship winning coach is going to go back to be the OC at LSU. And that's a huge selling point for LSU. This is also a big selling point for Charlie Weiss to show what he can do without Lane Kiffin telling him what to do, without Lane Kiffin helping him every step of the way. And so that'll be really important as well to see. So there's that. But looking at Tyler Chukium's film, a dude, again, he needs a lot of technical development. He does. I'm not taking that. I'm not saying he's this like perfect prospect. But again, I think that you're looking for guys that have physical traits that you can't teach. And for offensive tackle, it's nimble footwork, it's size, it's length, it's an aggressive mindset. I think you're looking for, because you're not going to teach someone to be aggressive, right? You either have that or you don't, right? You're either a dog or you're not. And so I think that's what you're looking for at offensive tackle. And Tyler Chukium's got that. And so I think that you have that, and then you just go, all right, we'll fix the technique, right? Like his hands get wide too often. His hands do, like, there's a lot of times you watch the film and he's grabbing like right his arms under, but he's grabbing right there, right? And that's like, you're gonna get called for that in the SEC. Once they start breaking away from that, you're gonna get called for that a lot. So I think that technique needs to clean up. But yeah, I'd also consider Cade Bell, Brian Dable at OC. Yeah, Cade Bell's offense is fun. I like him. I just like, my thing is, and I know like that Jon Sumrall said he wants to put up points. I just don't know if that offense is defense friendly, like at the SEC level too, because you got to remember, like, not to do the whole ACC SEC thing, because this also goes into fact for Buster Faulkner. But Cade Bell's more air raidy, and a lot of those air raid types don't really work in the SEC that often. I saw I forgot who it was. Someone in media called Tennessee an air raid. It's just like, okay, it's not true. It's a wide choice Brile spread type thing. It's not an air raid. Like they're spreading you out so that they can run the football, just to be abundantly clear. Cade Bell, I don't know how that would translate well, because like when they've played top level ACC teams, they've folded, or top level ACC defenses, I'll say, they've folded quite a bit. And again, like in the SEC, you're just facing elite athletes at corner, linebacker, safety, everything, and that makes it really tough to just air it out all the time. Brian Dable, I really like. Class of 2026 interior offensive lineman Deron Parks is committed to North Carolina, was previously committed to Florida State. But with Brian Dable, I'd be very happy with it. I think he's a great OC still. I think he's a great offensive mind still. And again, I say this as someone that covers the Giants in person. I think that Brian Dable is a great offensive mind. He's just not a head coach, and that's okay, right? Like that's totally fine. Some guys just aren't head coaches, and I think we're at a time where guys are accepting that and kind of appreciating that and going, all right, I'm not a head coach. I'm going to go be the best OC I can be, or the best DC I can be. And I appreciate that. So I will say that I think Brian Dable is still a great offensive mind. Seems like a pretty cool dude from the limited conversations that I've had with him. I think that he's a pretty smart dude. He's got a great memory too, by the way. Great memory too, because I remember when I first met him. It was at the Senior Bowl, and then I saw him at Giants practice. First time I met him was Senior Bowl. What year did Anthony Richardson come out? Was it 2022? I think it was 2022. And I spoke with Brian Dable, and I was like, "Hey, what do you think about?" Like we were talking about, prospects and everything. And frankly, because I got access to the side that I had no access, I had no privilege or I had no right to be on with all the coaches and executives and everything. So that was just a cool experience. But yeah, we were talking about prospects, and I was like, I haven't even watched them yet. Like we were just talking about Anthony Richardson was one of the names we spoke about. And then I saw him like a year later at the Senior Bowl, and he remembered me, and then him and Wink Martindale. And then I practiced. So he seems like a great dude. Like I saw him outside a few times. He's been really cool, but yeah, I also don't know what recruiting would be like for him, because like he's never recruited in this era, right? He was Alabama's OC a while back, but that was a different time, and that matters. So, but I think he's a great OC, great offensive mind. We'll see what recruiting looks like. I don't think he should be a head coach. 4-star linebacker Terry Wiggins has flipped his commitment from Penn State to Virginia Tech. Does that mean Penn State has like 2 commits now? Is that what we're looking at? Like Penn State just has 2 commits. So that's wild. Right? Like that's wild. I also apologize if the clip just went away for a second. I'm pulling up the screen to look at what Penn State has in their class left. Because it's not great, right? Terry Wiggins just flipped, which means that Penn State has 4-star edge rusher Jackson Ford in their class and 3-star corner Amori Polidor in this class. And I'd be willing to venture that Amari Polidor will flip because he is from Baltimore, Maryland. And James Franklin coaching in the DMV now, right? So he's going to get DMV kids. Also, yeah, like I said, like I haven't done this live screen sharing thing before, so I apologize if like as I'm changing windows, things get jumpy. But that just is what it is. But yeah, man, Penn State, dude, that I've never seen a team screw up this process before. The way that they're doing it, it's nuts. They've got 2 commits in the class. They just did no work with retaining the class. They don't have a head coach on signing day. That's crazy. That's just nuts to me. We'll finish up Tyler Chukium's film. If anybody has anybody else that they'd want to watch, let me know. We can get more film up. Like I'm having a good time with this. I don't know about you guys, but I'm having fun just watching football and going like, oh yeah, these guys are going to be here. Love that. We haven't watched Marquez Daniel today. We can watch Marquez Daniel next. And then we got who's the other name? Jarayla McCoy. Okay. Psych asked for Jarayla McCoy first, so we'll watch Jarayla McCoy next, and then we'll watch Marquez Daniel after that. But yeah, I think Tyler Chukium is such a good prospect. I can't believe that he finished as like a 3-star, 4-star. Like I'm so serious and I think people that like if you're new here, welcome. People that have been here before, like I've been critical when I don't like recruits, when I don't like commits, or when I don't think that they're as good as people are talking about. Like I've got no problem saying stuff about it. But man, I think Tyler Chukium's a dude. Oh, he's also got his. Let's see. When do we have? He's got a 4.9 40-yard dash time, a 4.4 shuttle, 265 bench. I don't care about 265 bench, frankly. I want to know how many times you rep 225, right? 500-pound squat, 425-pound deadlift, 295-pound clean. I have no idea how old these numbers are, by the way. I just want to throw that out there. Yeah, they're running from this dumpster fire that's getting hotter. Dan Mullen to the rescue. I'm telling you, I genuinely think that Dan Mullen should be in consideration for that Penn State job right now. Like, you're at least going to get someone fun, right? And I think that's something. Like, you're going to get someone fun. You give them the resources, let them cook, right? Let them cook. We'll see Jarayla McCoy's film if he's on Huddle. I remember that he was you might have already said this, but do you think Dylan Purter signs with us? Honestly, I don't know. That's the LSU safety from is it Booker T. Washington in Tuskegee, Alabama? I think so. Same school as Marquez Daniel, right? If I'm not mistaken. If I'm mistaken, then I'm mistaken, right? Let's see if we get the Dylan Purter rankings up here. Yeah, safety from Booker T. Washington High School. Right, Tuskegee, Alabama. Yep, Tuskegee, Alabama. 6 foot, 165 pounds. We could watch him in a minute. We can watch him. I'll tell you what. Everybody can throw it in there. 3 names. I will give you all. I'm going to put a minute on the timer. We can watch first either Jarayla McCoy, Marquez Daniel, or Dylan Purter. If you don't feel like spelling the names, you could just put D-line, wide receiver, corner, or D-line, wide receiver, safety. I'm going to put a minute on the clock and starting now. Just let me know in the chat who you want. And yeah, we can watch all 3, by the way. It's just who we're going to watch first is all I'm talking about here. Okay, we got 2 people saying Marquez Daniel. Yeah, Dylan Purter, by the way, a 4-star on all 3 sites. 208th player nationally on Rivals, 217th player nationally on 24/7, 226th player nationally on ESPN. We can watch him at some point. It's just, we don't have to do that right now. So I say that he's listed by some places as a corner, some places as a safety. So it's interesting what he's going to do. But that seems kind of like an LSU thing right now. Like Corey Raymond did that a couple times, which is, by the way, yes, Sumrall is a defensive-minded guy. By the way, really interested to know what LSU's plan is long-term, because they keep taking these like safety corner guys, and Blake Baker, if he stays, huge cover 1. And so I'll be really interested to see just like what they plan on doing long-term with Like a cover one heavy defense isn't really, I feel like, lane friendly, right? I feel like he'd be more comfortable with like what he's had with Pete Golding, which is similar to what you're going to get with, again, Pete Golding, which I think that where's Corey Raymond headed, I could easily see him staying at LSU. Unless reports have come out that he's not, but I could see him staying. But I will say that for Pete Golding, who's now the head coach at Ole Miss, and I'm not saying this with any type of sourcing or anything like that. I think that I think that Ron Roberts is going to wind up at Ole Miss as their defensive coordinator, because Pete Golding got his start at Delta State as a GA when Ron Roberts was the defensive coordinator at Delta State. And then Pete Golding left. I forgot where he went, but it was only for a year or two. Brandon Olsen, the type of guy you hate to have against you, but love to have on your team. Appreciate you. Love that. That's what I strive to be, right? Like, that's what I strive to be. I want Florida Gators fans to love me, but if you're not a Florida Gators fan, I hope you hate me because I hate you. Simple as that. But so Pete Golding started at Delta State as a GA when Ron Roberts was the DC. And then a couple years later, Ron Roberts was the head coach at Delta State, and Pete Golding came back to be like a position coach and assistant there. And so I think that what you're going to see is similar to when Dave Aranda got hired at Baylor. What did he do? Went and hired Ron Roberts to be his DC, because Dave Aranda, also a Ron Roberts guy. I forget if he started at Delta State or if that was when Ron was at Southeastern Louisiana. But Dave Aranda got hired as a head coach at Baylor, and he went, I'm going to go bring my DC mentor as my DC. For what do you make of Lamar not actually signing with LSU? I guess he's going to hang around and see what happens. I thought that would happen with more Florida players as well. I thought guys would just say, hey, I'm just going to wait. Like, I'm just going to wait. I'm not in a rush to sign. But so, and I'll get back to that point in a second. See, Dave Aranda got hired as the head coach at Baylor and hired Ron Roberts, who he's part of that tree, to be his defensive coordinator. And so when Pete Golding getting his first job as a head coach, I could easily see him bringing in Ron Roberts, who, by the way, now has SEC defensive coordinator experience, which Ron Roberts did not have when he took the Baylor job, which I know is Big 12. And so now Ron Roberts has SEC DC experience at Auburn and Florida. 1 year at Auburn, 2 years at Florida. And now that Pete Golding is the head coach at Ole Miss, I could easily see him going, you know what? I'm going to go bring in my mentor again. And that's going to be my guy. He has head coach experience, not in the SEC, not the Power 4, but head coach experience. He's got SEC defensive coordinator experience. That's going to be the guy. I could see him doing that. I think that Pete Golding might be a better mind right now, mostly because of the time he spent at Alabama under Nick Saban. He kind of has different levels to the defense. Ron Roberts seems like a more fun DC than Brad White. Maybe, but I mean, with Brad White, he is, which by the way, I know, who was it? Someone asked what kind of defense he's going to run. T said what kind of defense he runs. I think what you're going to see is more of a Kentucky style defense. You're still going to see the 3-down stand-up edge rusher, sometimes 2 stand-up edge rushers, tight front. You're going to see mint fronts a lot. You're going to see the safety or the star that's basically a safety playing nickel. That's still going to be a thing. I think that you're going to see more emphasis on linebacker play, which is huge considering Florida's linebacker room right now. So I think you're going to see more emphasis on linebacker play. Probably more press coverage. You're going to see, I think, less quarters, more cover 3, but you're still going to see a good bit of quarters. And that's fine. Like that's cool. Honestly, I like Brad White. I get people can talk about what Kentucky's defense did statistically this year. And I can tell you this, I don't care. Like, just go to the drive chart. We did this yesterday when he got hired. Just go to the drive chart for Louisville versus Kentucky. And it's like, oh yeah, Kentucky lost 41-0. Look at how many times Louisville had a short field. When will we get a DC that knows how to use a QB spy for QBs that can run? Here's the thing. First off, QB rushing is still going to give you fits with Brad White at DC. I can tell you that right now. But a lot of that just stems from That's what modern football is. Like modern defenses, a lot of them, every QB that can take off running, they have success against basically every defense, right? Because it's difficult to defend everything. And offenses, their goal right now is to make you defend everything. Like that's it. That's what they're going to do. You're still going to have issues with QBs taking off on you sometimes. It's more of it's called a hybrid 4-2-5. That's what it's called. It's called the hybrid 4-2-5. You're going to see 3 down. Yep, you're going to see 3 down linemen, but there's always going to be like a stand-up edge rusher there as well, unless they go with that 3 down and the linebackers and edge rushers are lined up like in like the nickel, which I hope we don't see ever again. I hate that. But you're going to see that 3 down, 1 stand-up edge rusher or 2 stand-up edge rushers at times. Like you can call it a 3-4, you can call it a 4-3. Honestly, it doesn't matter. It doesn't. That's what it is. Like I know people want to keep talking about it. That's so outdated at this point, because it's not just 3-4 or 4-3. It's not. The overwhelming majority of teams spend their time with 4 players along the defensive line, whether that's 3 down and a stand-up edge, 2 down and 2 stand-up edges, whether that's 4 down, whatever it is. Most teams spend a lot of their time with 4 players on the defensive front, with 2 linebackers and a nickel. A lot of them have a safety at nickel now. That's like a big trend too, because you're going 2 linebackers, so you need someone that can fit the run. That's what defense is now. Nickel's not too soft, honestly. I think the issue when anybody talks about too soft, it's not nickel. It's the guys you got out there. Frankly, that's what it is. It's just the guys you got out there. But that's where we got Florida tweeted absolute playmaker who signed. Davion Gross has signed with the Florida Gators. So that's locked in. So I will say all of that. That's just what defense is now. There's going to be 4 guys along the line of scrimmage. There's going to be 2 linebackers. There's going to be a safety basically playing nickel. And that just is what it is. I'm cool with it. By the way, I love modern defense. I think it's beautiful. I'm gonna be honest. Like I love modern defense. I think it's beautiful. I've been a big fan of Ron Roberts' defense for a long time. Like when he got hired at Auburn, I remember calling Zach Blackerby, who's my boss and the host of Locked On Auburn. And I was like, dude, you got a guy as your DC now. And so I think that's huge. I think, and again, I've been on. Like I know how people feel about Ron Roberts personally. All that. Yep. Like no problem. But just schematically what he's done is really impressive. What he's done for football, by the way. Like I just want to like creepers, sim pressures, every defense uses them. And Ron kind of popularized them with a lot of colleges. Like I had someone send me playbooks from that were like or installs of like creepers and sim pressures. And they dated back to like, let me see actually, because I remember. Actually, let me just pull it up. I'm just gonna see. It was someone someone shared it with me. Yikes! And they shared a bunch of defensive playbooks, and it was mostly installs of creepers and sim pressures. And I just remember looking at how old some of them how old some of them were, and I was like, this is wild. Let's see, is it in which folder is it in? The oldest one that I got is 1985 Rams defense with Fritz Schirmer, creepers and sim pressures. That was the oldest one that I got. It was 1985 Rams. I got 1992 Niners, 1997 Panthers, 1994 Eagles, 1996 Dolphins, 1992 49ers, 2010 Jets, which I'm not going to lie, I read the hell out of that one. Rex Ryan, you kidding me? Insane defensive mind. So I would say that. But yeah, I think it's great. Another one is that 9 signed. It's way more than 9 signed. It is. We've surpassed 9. Let me see if I'm going to pull up again. Gators Online on 3 has the National Signing Day headquarters. They've got Tyler Chukium, Justin Williams, Malik Morris, Hezi Kent, Jabari Lucas, CJ Bronaugh, Chancellor Campbell, Desmond Green, Jarayla McCoy, Kevin Ford, Marquez Daniel, Will Griffin, Kendall Gervil, Janari Carr, Davion Gross, and Corey Brown is a walk-on. 15 scholarship athletes and 1 walk-on. So we're mostly done with this class, honestly, being wrapped up and signed. We've really passed that. Again, I apologize if I'm about to screw up anything with how it looks. I'm trying to pull up the class now to see who's still left unsigned. Davion Gross is signed. So we got CJ Hester, Caden Hall, Kekua Omua. That's it. Everyone else signed. So it's just 3 guys, just 3 names we're waiting on to sign with the Florida Gators. It's huge. Also, can someone just confirm to me if when I pull, like right now what I'm doing, is there anything popping up on the screen that, like I'm pulling up a window on the bottom and I have no idea. I know I'm a boomer. It's fine. I'm turning 30 in a week from today, actually. I'm turning 30. So, I'm basically dead, right? And so if someone could let me know if things, 1 second, I'm going to do it again in a second. Just because I care when I'm sharing the screen if it pops up. Let me just pull up the Marquez Daniel film. We got 5 minutes right here. Okay. So now that I'm sharing screen, does anything pop up on the screen right now? Is there anything new outside of just me and the film? Is there anything? Just out of curiosity, because I have like this little pop up and I don't want it to be there and I don't want it to be on screen, but I'm letting it be on screen. Okay. Yes. What is on film? What are they? I want the film there. I want me there. Is there anything else? What? I want to know. Okay, just me in the film. That's all I care about. Okay. Because I have like 1,000 windows open because I was doing Giants work and I was doing Gators work. And so I have 1,000 windows that it's taking me a while to find them. And so, like I said, I'm getting old. And so I don't want them to be all messed up. Again, I also don't care that if this was going on audio, everybody would be completely left off. Doesn't matter. Zach Abelverdi just tweeted, "This is a big one." And it's for Davion Gross signing, which he ain't wrong. He ain't wrong. We got Barstool tweeting about Buster Faulkner's name is rising in talks for the Florida OC job. Mismatch for any defense. Is that Davion Gross? Yeah, it's Davion Gross. They're sending out 2 tweets for each player. So yes, Gross just signed, Kareem. So you got that. We're going to put on Marquez Daniel's film here and watch him just be a dude. Again, keep in mind that that when you see him go like this and call for the ball, he might not be open. That's just because he's a dog. That's the only way to describe it. That's just because he's a dog. Takes a bubble. Yeah. It's just a dude. Just a dude. Again, this is going to be one of those times where like he's not going to burn SEC defenses at this rate. But is that not a false start? I feel like he flew out the gates. he might have got away with that one, but I mean, just that catch, that PI. He's just a dude. There it is. Taking that little sweep. CJ Hester's undecided if he'll sign today. That's fine. I'm not freaking out about it. I think everybody that would have caused me to freak out is signed. So I'm not freaking out about anybody. I mean, he's just a big dude, right? Like he's just that. Bully him. See, like that's another thing. Like with similar to the Hezi Kent stuff, it's so difficult to defend because, again, if it's Hezi Kent, for example, like if he's lined up out wide, I'm not letting the corner cover him. I'm really not. You're going to have to put a linebacker out there. Even if you want to say, hey, linebacker, you're playing cover 3 now. Like whatever it is, you got to say, if Hezi Kent's out there, I can't put a corner on him. Can't. With Marquez Daniel, when you get him on the goal line, like I forgot if I already went back or not. Like here, I'm gonna go back to it. When you get him on the goal line here, first off, this corner is way smaller than him, but honestly, that whole defense looks smaller than him. At least the back, what is that, 7 back? But like this DB is way smaller than him. This is Marquez Daniel, wide receiver, from Tuskegee, Alabama. But so you got this little setup right here with, again, and he's 6'5", corner. I don't know how tall the corner is. He's maybe 6'1", but he's down in the stance. But the difficulty here is that, especially when he's isolated, right? Because you got, that's the center, that's the right guard, that's the right tackle. You got 3 receivers there. You got a running back there. He's ISO'd completely, right? The big issue there, and why this defense screwed up, frankly, is that when you got, and he's giving inside, like he thinks that he's he's ready, so he's giving that inside leverage a little bit. But when you've got that big ass receiver across from you, and you're on the 2-yard line, 1-yard line, they're right up on the goal line. When you got that big receiver up against you, you got to make a choice. You have to make a choice as a DB, and he's going to have to go. I would have been expecting fade right here completely. I think that's the reason that he had the inside leverage, was that he was kind of like, all right, again, just, I have no problem admitting this. I played corner and safety, really bad level. I have no problem admitting that. I played New York City high school football and then New York City semi-pro football. We are not elite athletes out here. All right. We are not elite ballers. No problem admitting any of that. But I will say that if I'm a corner and I got a 6'5" guy lining up against me, I'm going, he's running a fade. We're on the 2-yard line. He's running a fade. I'm going to go line up inside, right? I'm like, let's say this is where Marquez Daniel is lined up. I'm going to line up inside. I'm going to let you run that fade. And when you go up for the ball, I'm going to try to push you out of bounds, or I'm going to try to keep me between you and the ball. And so I'm either going to get my hand up if it's a bad ball, or I'm going to try to push you out of bounds completely. Like that's going to be my approach if I'm defending that, right? I'm going to let you run the fade. I'm going to try to take away the inside. Here, it looks like he was like, okay, I'm going to let him run the fade. Can I change the speed of this now? Okay, I'm going to let you run the fade, right? You give me that little stutter, and that stutter, based on like the little rocker that he's doing right now, he takes that step in. I'm going, yes. If you take that step in, I'm going, oh, he's taking that step in so that he can go out. Like that's what I'm thinking. Like he's taking that step in so that he can run that fade on me. Takes that step in, takes a step out, and DB, like you see it, he gets thrown off the platform there. DB lets him take that step in, lets him take that step out, and thinks he's going out. And then when he cuts in, it's cooked. It's over. If I'm a defense and I got a 6'5" receiver on the goal line, I'm gonna be completely honest with you. And like he looked like he kind of tried to do it here. I'm gonna be completely honest with you. This dude, you're covering that inside. Yeah, no, I hate that. If I'm a defense and I got this setup, 6'5" receiver on an island, you are coming inside. You're staying that outside, or that inside leverage. You're taking away that throwing lane. No other way to put it. But again, like Hezi Kent, like having guys with these kind of physical traits, these kind of physical skills that you then develop and improve. If that's what you got to deal with, that's a tough spot to be in, right? That's a really tough spot to be in, and it's tough. Like you make the defense make choices. That's what it is. You make the defense make choices. And with Marquez Daniel, I'm gonna say I'm taking. Yeah, you have to try to take away something. Exactly. I'm telling you now, like I'm giving you the fade. I'm trying to take away the inside. I'm giving you the fade, and if they throw it up, I'm going to try to push you out of bounds, or I'm going to try to keep me between you and the ball, and I'm going to say, you got to make a great throw, and you got to make a great catch, and I'm going to do that. Here, I think he tried to give him the fade, and then when Marquez Daniel ran that little inside step, and he was like, oh, he's running the fade. I do think that's what it is. I think that he was like, I'm going to give him the fade. He took that one step in, that little rocker, took the step in, and he was like, oh, he's running the fade, and bit on it and was just toast over the middle. But also, like, he was putting hell. He was. You got to keep that edge. I keep pointing to it with my finger. You got to keep this edge. Like, he's got to drop back. He's got to take away the slant. I think that's how I'm defending a guy like Marquez Daniel on the goal line. I'm going to say, hey, DB, give him the fade and let them take the fade, and then push him out when he takes a fade. Like, when he's in the air, push him out, let him take the fade there, or make a play on it if it's underthrown, right? And I'm taking away that slant. I'm telling that edge, take away the slant, or a linebacker, come away, take away the slant. But, like, you got a 6'5" receiver on a DB that's clearly, again, like I said, like probably like 6'1". I'm trying to gauge it based on his stance and trying to adjust for that. But, like, you got to give him a chance, man. Like, you got to give him a chance, and he just didn't have one. Again, this little step in, and he took the step in. DB thought he was going out, and he came back in and crushed him. Stuff like that's just tough to defend, man. And then they run the fade on you. Like, it's stuff like that's just impossible to defend. That's what I love about this 2026 class. They give you guys, and that's what teams are trying to do now, right? Like, that's what teams are trying to do. Exactly, Morgan. Like give him the fade, catch up, shove him. That's it. That's what I'm doing. I'm Ty Lawing you. I'm catching you and carrying you out. But again, that was a great release. Because, like, he took the inside step, made the DB think, okay, he's taking this inside step to try to get me inside, and then he's going to run this fade. And he took the inside step, outside step, DB bit on the outside step, and he ran the slant. He was just open. Which that could have been an option, right? But, and I don't blame the DB for that. DB got cooked, absolutely. But you're going to put me in an island on 6'5", I'm going to lose. Like, I'm not going to, I will openly say there was a time that I was playing and there was a receiver that was probably 6'5". Ball went up. I just hit him. I just hit him. I was like, I'll take it. I'll take a 15-yard DPI. I'll take it. I don't care. I looked up, lost the ball completely. I just hit him. I was like, I'll take the 15-yard DPI. Call it. Don't care. I got yelled at. I'm not going to lie. I got benched for the rest of the possession. Didn't give up a touchdown, right? That's all it is. But getting guys in this class that make you make choices, that's what you're trying to, and that's what football is doing now, right? Like, we're seeing teams run 12 personnel now more than ever. But they're running 12 personnel as a defense. Like, we're running 12 personnel so that as a defense, we got 2 tight ends on the field, right? We got 2 receivers, 2 tight ends, and a running back. As a defense, you need to go, okay, this is a run showing setup. So we're going to bring either 2 linebackers, and we're going to stay in nickel. And if you run the ball, you run the ball. Or we're going to come out heavy. And if you're a team with good tight ends, we're going to come out heavy, base formation, base defense, and you get to throw the football against us now. You play action because we think that you're going to run the football if we're coming out in base. You get to play action, take a shot, do whatever it is. It's crazy. It's tough. Also, I'm going to be frank with everyone. I do not want him returning kicks or punts in the SEC or for Florida specifically. Like, you're gonna have better athletes for that. Just let him be the 6'5" weapon that he is. That's it. Also, put it in the chat who you want to watch next. Choices are who was it? It was a DB and Jarayla McCoy, was it? DVD line? Just say DVD line. Just say if you want a DB or D line next. And I will say this, like we've been talking about we've been talking about this running a fade on the goal line. You're obviously, the 5 low red still. You got that fade going. If you throw a fade like this, like that's just as a DB, you just gotta accept that. Like you like you just gotta accept that in the sense of I'm not shoving you out like I've been talking about. Like I've been talking about it, like, oh, like if you run that fade, I'm gonna shove you out of bounds. Like that situation, you're not doing that. Because look, again, high school, 1 foot. He's not close enough to the sideline yet to get pushed out. As a DB, you just got to go make that play on the ball. Like right here, you got to put your arm right up in that gap and pull and try to just rip it out. That's what you got to do. I don't know what the hell the DB was doing here. It looks like he just gave up. But you got it right here, right there. I'm jumping, getting my arm up, and just pulling back. Like I'm jumping just like this and pulling back and trying to just rip that ball out of your hands there. Calvin Russell, that did delay his commitment. What's up, Relax Puppy? Relax Puppy, I think 1 second. Sorry, I'm gonna send a message. He's answering a question that I asked before. Yeah, I'm gonna say that. I'm gonna say that he's answering a question that I was asking before about the update. Gotta make us boomers look good. I like that he's saying that. He's like 10 minutes behind. But so yeah, in that situation right there as a DB, you got to just try to get your hand up between his hands. If you can get your hand on the ball and just rip it back and just try to rip that ball out. And so I will say that about the edge, but like that throw puts him in a good spot where you can't do the shove out of bounds we were talking about. Like how we were saying, if you throw up the ball, I'm gonna try to push you out as you're on the sideline. That's not close enough to the sideline. That's not close enough to the sideline there. And so you don't get that option. You got to break that ball up. I don't know what the DB was doing here. He just watched it happen. That's it. He just watched it happen. That's it. I don't know what his plan was. Bad one. So much for making this boomer look good. QB almost got lit up immediately. Oh man, you got to just grab him on the sideline, push him out there. QB here. Yep. Police escort. Just a police escort down there. Man, and we got about QB here. Okay. Well, unless that was a designed QB keep. Unless that was a designed QB keep. That was an awful read. I just want to throw that out there. All right. I just want to throw that out there. Right here. Because the read is if the edge comes down, then the QB keeps, right? Edge, that's not coming down. That's not, see, he just stands there. He just breaks down on you. Nope. You're supposed to hand that off, right? Like, that's a bad read. Got a feeling it's about to be a great play, but that's a bad read. Yep, toast. That's the Anthony Richardson, right? Like that's what that was. That was the Anthony Richardson of I'm gonna screw up the read on the end. I'm going to screw up the read on the end, but I'm just going to out-athlete you. And that's what that is. And so, all right, I saw someone say D-line, so we're going to go Jalen McCoy here. Yeah, we'll pull up the Jalen McCoy film, and then we got Dylan Purter. And yeah, if anybody wants to throw a name out there for who to watch, throw a name out there for who to watch, and remind me, because we're taking a while, right? Like we're taking some time with this. We're watching, we're talking about things, you're breaking things down. Yeah, he's a wide receiver for a reason, is right. That's like when a DB drops a pick. Like when a DB drops a pick, and it's just like, and it's like, oh well, he plays corner for a reason. It's exactly that. Yeah, we can't, like, there's no like recently updated Jalen McCoy film. It's crazy. I'm sorry. I'm gonna be a jerk if I say this, but like, I'm not pulling up his film from January 2024 that's on Huddle. I'm not watching that because that's just so outdated. It doesn't matter. We did watch Will Griffin. We watched Will Griffin, I want to say about an hour ago, which, by the way, we've been live for 2.5 hours. We've never done anything like that. Just want to throw that in. We've never done a 2.5 hour live. And we're going to keep going for a bit. But yeah, like, I'm sorry. I'm not pulling up Jalen McCoy film from the 2023 film. I'm not doing that. We'll skip Jalen McCoy if that's the case. I'm sorry. I'm not pulling up 2023 film. I'm not doing it. So we'll go to Dylan Purter. We'll go to Dylan Purter, who should have more recent film, hopefully. His own Huddle lists him as 6 foot 180, 4.44 40-yard dash, 4.35 shuttle time, 4.35 shuttle time, 36-inch vert, 245 on the bench. He can rep 185 on the bench 10 times, squat a 385, deadlift 450, clean 265. Good numbers, right? And this is same school as Marquez Daniel. Okay. OU and Texas Tech tried to flip Gross. That's not surprising. But I would say Dylan Purter, by the way, we just watched Marquez Daniel from Booker T. Washington High School in Tuskegee, Alabama. Dylan Purter, his teammate, Dylan Purter, currently committed to LSU. But is, if I'm not mistaken, full on not expected to sign today. And Florida's in it, we'll say. But committed to LSU, been committed to LSU since March. Okay. What do we have visit wise? He took an unofficial on February 1st. Okay. Took an unofficial on February 1st. We got Dylan Purter. How long is the clips? 3 minutes, 5 seconds. Okay. Whoever, let me know who you want to watch next after we got Dylan Purter. Gonna pull it up now. He's playing corner out here. There we go. Gators got their OC. I'm sorry, dude. I'm over you. I'm just removing you from the chat. Like, I'm over you just coming in to say something stupid about an OC or anything like that. I just don't care about it, to be completely honest with you. Not wasting my time with it. I saw someone say, you think Jones or Griffin based on high school performance is better? So I will say one thing. It's tough because Tramel Jones, I like Tramel Jones' junior film a lot more than I liked Will Griffin's junior film. Tramel Jones got injured early in his senior year, and so there's not really senior film on him. If I'm not mistaken, it was like game 1. And so I will say that Tramel Jones' junior film, I thought, was a lot better than Will Griffin's junior film. Will Griffin's senior film that we watched earlier, I think that was better than Tramel Jones' junior film. But again, at that point, we're comparing a high school junior to a high school senior, and that is a significant difference. Like college junior to senior, not that big a difference. High school junior to senior, like high school, it's like you get significant developmental leaps in high school because you're just growing, you're getting better, you're getting smarter, all that. And so I would say that Tramel Jones's junior film, I thought was we haven't watched Gross tonight. Or we haven't watched Gross yet. We haven't watched Gross yet. We can watch him next. I have watched him. We haven't watched him as a group. And so yeah, I will say that. No, Dylan Purter has not flipped. At least has not flipped officially at this point. He might, but he hasn't yet. Florida is pursuing that. I think things are trending that way. But yeah, so like I was saying, Tramel Jones Jr. film, I thought considerably better than Will Griffin's junior film. But senior film, I thought I will also say, I think, and this time that it came in was the first time I watched those clips of Will Griffin. I said that. I'm actively trying to pick clips that I haven't watched or video that I haven't watched, film that I haven't watched yet. But that film that we watched before of Liam Blutman with Barstool tweeted, monitoring, Buster Faulkner's name continues to heat up for numerous jobs, including a head coach gig, which is interesting. I wonder what that might be. Tulane. Might be Tulane. If Blake Baker stays at LSU, might be Tulane. Yeah, I think with Will Griffin, his junior film, I was very open and public about. I thought his junior film showed physical tools, but a ton of work needed. I think his senior film, his mechanics look a lot cleaner. And because of his mechanics looking a lot cleaner, he was able to just really rip the ball. We were watching some throws that were 40 yards downfield and with velocity. And I think that was really, really impressive there. I thought Will Griffin's senior film was actually really, really good. But again, Tramel Jones didn't have really senior film come out. And I thought that Tramel Jones's junior film was miles ahead of Will Griffin's junior film. I think Will Griffin's senior film was better than Tramel Jones's junior film. But again, you're comparing a high school senior to a high school junior, and I think that matters. I think that matters. So I would say that. Okay. Aren't you a Tulane fan or Toledo? It's Toledo. I went to Toledo. And so I will forever rock with Toledo. It's the only tattoo I have to this point. I will forever rock with Toledo. I was there during the Matt Campbell days, and Jason Candle's first year as the head coach of Toledo was my last year there. Which Jason Candle, by the way, really cool dude. I'll say that. I got to meet him finally at the Senior Bowl this year. And we were just talking, and because we have spoken because of some things that I wrote for the Giants that involved Toledo players like linebacker Deontay Johnson, not wide receiver Deontay Johnson. Yes, we spoke, and I will say that when we spoke and we were talking about, like I went to Toledo when he was there and all that, and he's still there, of course. He was like, "Are you from Toledo?" And I was like, "No, I'm from New York City." And he goes, "Why did you come to Toledo then?" Like, which is a wild response to get from the head coach of Toledo. But it was obviously also in jest. He's done a great job there. I like him. I don't know how long he's going to be there, but I'm enjoying the ride as long as I can. Is there still any buzz about Isaiah Williams possibly flipping again, showing he's not signed with FSU yet? That's the least surprising thing ever, but honestly, I hope not. I don't think so. I don't think there's a chance there. Maybe with the new staff, right? But I know that he pissed off a lot of people at UF with the way that what was it? The flip from Ole Miss. I think a lot of people at UF were kind of just like, if he's not Florida this time, then we're not going to take him at Florida anymore. And so I think that's important again to acknowledge. We're just talking about acknowledging things. That's it. That's all we're talking about is acknowledging truths that we have. And so I could say that. And so, yeah, I don't think Isaiah Williams is coming here. I've been very open also. That I would have much rather had as an edge rusher than a linebacker. I was very clear, very open about that. I think that's where he's going to be long-term. Say that. So we got this is Dylan Purter, right? We got Dylan Purter film. Yeah, we got Dylan Purter film. Booker T. Washington High School, Tuskegee, Alabama. Teammate of Marquez Daniel, corner safety. I'm sure we'll see him play both, but this is what we got here. Yes, Izzy did have really bad handlers, but at a certain point, you are what they think you are. Playing safety here, not corner. Good eyes. He read that the whole way. We're going to go back on that one. With this class, do you think Napier is still a good recruiter? I thought Napier was always a good recruiter. Because, like, again, I think the class stayed together because of NIL. I don't know if I already discussed, but is there real smoke with Calvin Russell on 3? Saying there is. We watched Hezi Kent earlier. We did watch Hezi Kent earlier. And, like, guys, like, you can go back and if you want to stay with the live, you could stay with the live. But when we're done with the live, like, you can go back and look at what we got, and you could see what we have, and you can get my thoughts. You can see how we're talking about this. Like, we're 2.5 hours in, and we've watched probably like 8 people. I spent the first like half hour just talking, and then we got the film, if not a little bit longer than that, just talking, and then we got to the film. But like, I'm telling you, we're pausing film, we're breaking it down, we're talking about it here. And I now that I know I could do this with Huddle, by the way, I intend on doing this a hell of a lot more. But I really like what we got here. And we can talk with Dylan Purter again. I'm going to say this. Dylan Purter, LSU commit. We're talking about moving on. They're playing at Troy right now, which is interesting, which is Troy, Alabama, where Jon Sumrall got his start. Makes sense why Florida would be pursuing this flip. Or Jon Sumrall got his start as a head coach at Troy, then went to Tulane. But Jon Sumrall is probably going to have good ties with the state of Alabama, which produces SEC talent through and through. And what was it this morning? Yeah, this morning we had Brooks Austin on the show to talk about Jon Sumrall and the hire, and he mentioned that, like, Alex Golesh at Auburn runs a wide choice offense. You're going to have to deal with the recruitment issues of every QB and receiver you try to get, other teams are going to go against you. Florida has the state of Alabama ties. Could be interesting to see how that one goes, because Florida could kind of scoot on in there with some guys. But so we'll see that. I forgot what else. With this class, I think this class stayed together because of NIL, but I think this class is put together because of great recruiting. And I think that is that not the gimmicky Tennessee offense? Yeah, so yes and no. Alex Golesh's version of the wide choice, I think, is better than Heupel's version. Wide choice, brawl spread, whatever you want to call it. But I think that Heupel does a better job of, I'll say, evolving it. Or I think Golesh does a better job of evolving it than Heupel. I think that Golesh's use of the QB run game is much more complementary than anything else. Anyone know anything on UFOC yet? That's what I'm waiting to hear. We're still waiting. I read it a few minutes ago. Buster Faulkner is reportedly being floated for multiple OC jobs in the SEC, as well as a head coach job somewhere. So we'll see what that all looks like. Totally off topic, but are you going to watch the Tulane game and see how Sumrall does? Absolutely. Yeah. I considered going live after the Tulane game and treating it like a Florida post game. Considered it, but probably won't do it. But we'll see that. But so, yeah, I think this class was put together by great recruiting. I think this class was maintained or through financial reasons, which, by the way, is not a knock. I actually think that's great, because if it truly was kept together for financial reasons, some of those were honored after Jon Sumrall got hired, which means that boosters seemingly kept it together, right? And I think that's important. I really do. And so, yeah, we could talk about this more. We got Dylan Purter here. I wanted to talk about this clip. So he's listed as corner, safety. Clearly, he's playing both. I think he's listed by like the recruiting services as a safety, so I think that's where they view him long term. So we'll see what we get. But this play was great because right here he's playing. first off, he's playing safety, but he's 10 yards off the line of scrimmage. That's not super common. Usually it's 12. That you'll see with a lot of high schools. I don't know what this defense does, but you'll see 12 with a lot of high schools. Or if you were like, again, like I said, like I played in New York, and when I was in high school, I played more safety than corner. We were lining up 8 yards off because no one threw the football. That's no one threw the football in New York. Turns out when it's really cold and crappy weather, not a lot of air raid that you see. But so we got Dylan Purter here playing safety. This is going to be a great read. I think he picked it. I think I clipped it before he picked it. But this is going to be great. I want to see what the corner does here. Is that even a pump fake, or did he just look? He bit on the out route here. He bit on this out. Um, it was that little pat of the ball. I think he thought it was going to be a pump fake. Um, but corner comes down, crashes down on it. It's cover one. What is this? Yeah, it's cover one. Okay, that's cover one. That's cover one. The corner is supposed to have this receiver. He bit on this little, like, not even really pump fake, just like this little pat of the ball. Um, and he bit on that out because this safety has him, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, this safety has him. And so he flew down on that. Um, Vandy just flipped the kid from Bama too. Oh, Vandy's just hooping. I'm not gonna lie to you. Um, and so this looks like cover one, maybe hole. I don't know what this linebacker is doing. Um, looks like maybe cover one hole. One of these guys is gonna have the back. One's probably gonna be in an underneath zone or spying or something like that. But this little, like, yeah, this looks like cover one. That's our guy, Dylan Purter. The Bama commit was a local Nashville kid. Baller. What's up? We got Corey Burton from Locked On Vandy in here. We got Corey Burton from Locked On Vandy in here hanging out with us. Corey's a dude. I'll tell you that. Like Corey knows this stuff. If Corey want, I'm not going to put you on the spot, Corey. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to put you on the spot. I know you guys just got a kid from Bama. And so if you're going live, you're doing whatever you're doing it. But if you want to hop on, I'll send you the StreamYard link. We can set this up. I'm just gonna let you know if you're just trying to talk some ball, we got that. But I would say I think this is one, and that little out route Cooks. Again, I don't even think it was really a pump fake. It wasn't a good sell if it was a pump fake, but it looks like he just kind of like patted the ball a little bit. And so this safety, Dylan Purter, is our guy. And he just reads it. You know, he reads that's busted. They got Ohio. Is this again? Oh, hate that, Corey. But I appreciate you popping in. This looks just like a Ohio on both sides, which is the slot outside receiver vertical, and it's just gone. They all come. That's 3 defenders coming down. We will have a crossover next season as the Gators and Doors play. I can't wait. Corey and I might go for like an hour and a half. It's just a crossover. And none of it might be about talking about like the storylines of the game. I'm looking forward to recording with Corey. I've been very open about that. I look forward to it. But then you got, all 3 of these guys come crashing down. Dylan Purter's our safety here, and he's the only one that reads it. And he books it, by the way. Like right? He sees the fake, he sees the receivers. Like the moment he recognizes it, he right there. That's where his eyes go. That's where his eyes are going. He saw everybody coming down and nobody with the ball there yet. So saw everybody coming down, no one with the ball there yet, receiver with the hand up. And right here is where you see him book it. Gone. And house call. That was a bad throw. I'll say that. But also that QB does not look like a great QB. Like he looks pretty small. Great play by Dylan Purter there. Vandy's get a basketball, so maybe a January crossover. I hate it, but this is why we should go to 16. Corey, I'm down for a basketball crossover. We've done basketball crossovers this year. I'm down for basketball crossovers. I love them. But we'll see if hopefully Florida will figure some things out by then. Do you have him at safety again? I didn't even see where he was circled. There he is. Oh, he's at corner this time. Flying down. Yeah. That's the high school corner tackle. The screen. I'm just gonna hold on to you for dear life. The hell was that play? Got the post. I mean, I'm telling you, the the QBs that they're playing, the quarterbacks they're playing right now in the first 43 seconds of this film are not good quarterbacks. I'll tell you that. Some of these, he's off the screen. He's so far back. There it is. That's that camera angle. I don't know what you're doing, but that was a hell of a pick. Took it. Yeah, that game sucked last night. We went live after he's at corner here. I mean, no catch. Got a hand in. Got the little celly going. We got what is this commitment? 4-star D-line Carter Gooden has flipped his commitment from UCLA to Tennessee. Yeah, not super surprising. Yeah, we went live after last night's game. Sucked. We got there we go. We got that. So that I mean, this is again got good way to fly down. Aggressive trigger down. Like once he knows he's coming down, he comes down. Great little celebrations though. Widespread incompletion. So far, I'm liking him, especially as a safety. I'm gonna be honest. We haven't seen him play man coverage much at corner, so I can't really speak to it. But safety, aggressive eyes, aggressive tendencies, coming down here. He just blitzed to the A gap, right to the A. Yeah, I like him. Deep safety here, trick play, incomplete. Okay. Not again. I don't necessarily care if the call is complete or incomplete. I just like seeing that you're there. Maybe making a play on it, not just in the vicinity. Get in front of them. Don't let them get past you. And that looks like a 12-year-old right there. That looks like a 12-year-old. Is that the QB? Who is that? Is that the running back? That's the running back. He looks like he's 12. I feel like I'm watching Friday Night Tykes. Um, did you see on the Ali Peak show that Werfel said Lincoln Riley didn't want to talk to Gators despite the rumors he wanted the job? What's up, Josh Gardner? Yeah, we've only been live for 2 hours 45 minutes. Uh, I saw a clip of it. I've said I haven't watched the show. Saw a clip of it. Don't buy it. Is what I'll say. Don't buy it. I love that. Like he's listed a safety corner. He's playing a lot of safety here, and I like his safety film right now. I think I was corner, but that. Yep, we got the little seat belt. Strap him up. Corner here. Yeah, I don't know what level Booker T. Washington plays at in Tuskegee, Alabama, um, but I know that they've got 2 SEC players on them. I like that film. I'll be honest. I liked his film. Wasn't anything incredible, but aggressive ball hawking tendencies. I'm good with that. You know, you come flying down, you come make a plays. I'm cool with it. Um, and so I will say that we had Davion Gross was as the next person that we had requested to watch. If we've got another request, you just let me know. We'll get to it. And we'll add them to the list. We're watching one game from everybody. I'm trying to find like, a 4-minute clip if possible. If longer, then longer. That's great. I wish we could have full games thrown up out here. That'd be awesome. We got these game recaps or something that they do a lot of here. Let's see. It's 1:42 seconds. Okay, 2.5 minutes. This is from last year. Hold on. So it's 2024, right? Yeah. We've got to have more recent stuff than that. That's 1:42 seconds. Of course, T. I'm loving doing this. Now that I found out that I'm allowed to do this, I'm loving doing this. I mean, I'm not finding anything longer than the 1:42, I think it was. What does that say? Hope you're well. Hope you're well too. Are we expecting Caden Hall to sign today? To my knowledge, things might have changed. I'm not gonna lie to you. After all of the talks that went on with the Lane Kiffin recruiting stuff and all that, or the Lane Kiffin hiring stuff and all that, I haven't even bothered people for news. I haven't spoken to people for news outside of coaching stuff for a while. When does Sumrall need to hire an OC by? Whenever. Honestly, I guess by portal time, but you've got this whole class basically wrapped, right? Which means that not having an OC hasn't hurt you to this point. So I think we got a 2-minute 5-second clip. So we'll pull that one up if that's the longest. I'm pulling up the longest clip. Yeah. I'm trying to pull up the longest clip from his high school season this year. So we got 2 minutes, 5 seconds. Let's see what his 6'2", 190 is what he's listed as on his own huddle. Okay. So we're going to go to the Frisco high school clip. 2 minutes, 5 seconds. And that's what we're going to pull up right here. And here you go. This is Davion Gross, wide receiver, running back. Thank your bosses for allowing you to do this. Yeah, I mean, I thank my bosses all the time. I get to talk about the Florida Gators football team, basketball team for work. So I'm thrilled. I got Davion Gross coming your way if they wants to play. That'd be super cool. There we go. Hell of a highlight that one was, huh? Just watch the ball in the air. So is signing day over now? I'm at work. Mostly. It's mostly wrapped. There's a couple names you're still waiting on. I don't know if CJ Hester is going to be part of the class. Won't be too shaken up about that. I've been very open about his film. He's if he's part of the class, he's part of the class, and I'm cool to have him. But if he's not, I'm not devastated. CJ Bronall was the receiver, was the corner that I wanted. Davion Gross is a dude, right? Okay, I'm gonna say this. Do not let anybody tell you that someone's gonna be the next Percy Harvin. Don't let people lie to you. All right, that ain't happening. Just because someone plays receiver and running back, people want to go, oh, he could be Percy Harvin. That ain't happening. I'm gonna be completely honest with you. I'm not gonna lie to you. He's a damn good player, very creative. Good gadget, but as far as the next Percy Harvin, like I just and the reason I dislike it isn't to knock anybody. Like it's not to say, oh, you're not good enough for whatever. It's just, why are we setting that unreasonable expectation? Like, why are we doing that? Why do we have to compare everybody to an amazing amazing, like the generational player. Why? And I'm not blaming UT because like I saw it for Davion Gross and Justin Williams. And it's like, you really think that Florida got 2 Percy Harvins in the same class? No, it's just people go, oh, he's a wide receiver, he's a running back, he's Percy Harvin. That's it. They just go, oh, he's a wide back, slot back, whatever you want to call him, Percy Harvin. No, we can talk about guys and be like, yeah, that's Deebo Samuel. And you know what? That's still a hell of a good football player. I think the thing with colleges in general is that you always want to compare him to someone at the school, right? That's what it is. I think that's what it is that everybody wants to go, oh, I want him to be this Florida Gator that stylistically somewhat fits. It's like realistically, that's not the case. Like if you're Deebo Samuel, you're Deebo Samuel, right? Not a Gator, South Carolina Gamecock, hell of a football player. Is Will Griffin the next Danny Werfel? I don't know. He might be the next Tim Tebow, right? That might be it. And there's a lot of great football players. What's up, Dre? I saw your message, by the way. I'm live, so I couldn't answer it, but I saw your message. I'm gonna answer this for you now. It didn't happen yesterday. All right, that's what I'll tell you that. And for anybody watching, that has nothing to do with the Florida Gators. So that's irrelevant to that. Good speed does a good job hands catching, but there's no Percy Harvin. Yeah, it's really as simple as that. Like we're not comparing people to these all-time greats all the time. Every edge rusher that came in isn't whatever edge rusher like every edge rusher isn't Dante Fowler Jr., right? Like every edge rusher with a great first step is not Dante Fowler Jr. Every corner that's a great athlete is not Joe Hayden or anything. I think one of the things that people get really pigeonholed in college is trying to compare them. By the way, if anybody wants to watch anybody next, let me know. We've been live for 3 hours, so we're probably going to wrap this up at some point soon. But if there's another player we want to watch, then let's watch him. Let's get to him. But yeah, I think just comparing guys to all-timers is just a bad idea. Just because I think you're just setting unreasonable expectations, unreasonable hopes and dreams. And then when they don't reach your unreasonable expectations, you get mad at them. Like that was the thing with Jason Marshall. You can go back to, I think 2022. Yes, LJ McCray is not the next. Yes. No, I think you can go back to 2022. And I was talking about this with Jason Marshall Jr. And because everybody was like, oh, he's going to be amazing. He's going to be this elite guy, corner one, all that stuff. I was just like, and people started getting mad at him when he wasn't that. We have watched Hezi Kent. People started getting mad that that Jason Marshall Jr. wasn't this elite corner one that everyone thought he'd be. It's like, and I've been very openly critical of Jason Marshall throughout much of his career, but it's just not fair or reasonable to expect all these guys to be these amazing elite football players that are all-time greats. That's just not how things work. Like guys don't, fan bases, and this is not Florida specific. This is New York Giants for professional. This is for Alabama, Georgia, LSU, Texas, Ohio State, everybody. You get these players and then you set these insane expectations because you're fanning out, right? You're fanning out and you're going, oh my, he's a wide receiver running back hybrid. He's a Florida Gator. He's Percy Harvin. And then they end up being someone like Deebo Samuel, who's still a very good football player, who's been in the NFL for 6 years or something like that. Like guys that have been in the league for a long time. And you see, I don't know, longer than 6 years, I think, for Deebo. But you get these guys that are still really good football players. But you told yourself he's going to be an all-time great. And then when they don't reach those expectations, you go, oh, he sucks. And it's like, that's not how things work. It's not all-time great bum ass. Like, that's not how football works. Like, there's plenty of very talented football players that just aren't all-time greats, and that's okay. Like, we don't have to go, he's a wide receiver running back hybrid. He's Percy Harvin. He's a wide receiver running back hybrid. He's also Percy Harvin. We got two Percy Harvins in the class. He's a wide receiver tight end. He's Kyle Pitts. Oh my God. He's Kyle Pitts. He's amazing. He's a quarterback that can run. He's Tim Tebow. Like, we don't have to do this for everybody. We can just say that guys are good football players, and that's totally cool. Dre said, "Isn't that kind of what happened to DJ Lagway? Maybe not player comparison, but high expectations that lead to disappointment." Yeah, that happens all the time. Like DJ was different, right? Because he was good, but okay, DJ was different. He's a great QB, but he went through surgery. He missed all of camp. Get him all this camp and to start next year, and he'll be. And if he really sucks, as people say, not saying he is all-time great, but very talented. I think the thing with DJ is just like people ignored that he was. People ignored that any word on Gross. He signed. He's a Gator. People ignored that DJ was dealing with things, but also like people ignored that DJ was great for a freshman, but not great. And that's another thing. Like DJ was a great freshman. Was he a great quarterback? No, because he wasn't, right? He had a hellified deep ball. He did. That was it. Great deep ball, evaded pressure. That was it. That's what he did really well as a freshman. But I came out here for every week during that great stretch that Florida was going through, and I was like, look, DJ is not playing sustainable football. He's not. He's deep ball or nothing, and that's not sustainable. And I was saying that every week, and every week I was getting told, shut up, you don't know what you're talking about. He's amazing. What he did in 2025 was a lot of what he did in 2024. The difference, defenses took away the deep ball. That's it. Like, and that's where I talk about with DJ's expectations and how he actually played, is that when DJ went through this offseason and was not healthy and was not able to fully participate in everything, he didn't develop. He's developmentally still a freshman, right? But defenses saw him in 2024, and defenses got to go into the 2025 season saying, this is DJ Lagway. This is what he wants to do. Take it away from him. Take away the deep shot. And when you take away the deep shot and he hasn't had time to develop or grow or work, then guess what happens? He's still trying to make those throws and it's not working. Like, that's what that is. It is not he sucked all of a sudden. It's that developmentally, DJ Lagway is still a freshman. Defenses are defending him differently. That's it. That's all it comes down to. He didn't grow. He did regress also. I will acknowledge that. Mechanically, he regressed. I believe that's because he had like the foot thing, the leg thing going on, and he was still just throwing. And because of throwing like that, threw him off. Liam Blutman is reporting Dable as a real candidate for us. Thinks that's trolling. I don't think it's trolling. I don't know how valid it is, though. I will be completely open about this. We'll talk about that, and then we'll wrap this up. I will head out because again, we've been live for 3 hours. Which again, I love this. We'll do this more. Honestly, we might do this again and just watch these guys again, or just watch this recruiting class again at some point. Just go live and talk about them again. But yeah, I don't know how legit the Brian Dable smoke is for Florida potentially hiring him as an offensive coordinator. I've been very open. I still think he's a good offensive mind. I just don't think he's a head coach. Simple as that. I don't think he's set to be a leader. I think he's set to be an offensive coordinator, and that's fine. Especially if you pair him with a psycho leader, like how Nick Saban had him, and it was great. And it's like Brian Dable didn't need to be a leader because he had a leader. And I'm not saying Jon Sumrall is a Nick Saban, but I am saying Jon Sumrall can be your leader. Right, like Jon Sumrall could do that, and so we'll see. I know that the connection is that he went to high school with Florida Gators' new general manager, Dave Caldwell. That's the connection. Will it work? We'll see. Again, I still think Brian Dable is a good OC. I just don't think he's a head coach, and that's okay. Not everybody's a head coach. That's called life, right? Like that's all that is. But we are going to wrap this up because again, it's been 3 hours. I thank you all so much for joining and watching, whether you came in, came out, came back in, whatever it was. You did the hokey pokey, all that stuff. This was I had a hell of a good time doing this. I'm excited for this 2026 recruiting class. I think it's a great recruiting class for the Florida Gators. I think it's a great transition class for Jon Sumrall to kind of be led into, and I thank Billy Napier for that as his parting gift. This is a good class. I like it. Florida Gators, really promising. You did 3 hours. I thank you all so much for the opportunity to do this because not everybody gets a chance to just talk about the Florida Gators. for a living. That's ridiculous, and I love it. But that's my reality, and I think that's dope. But thank you all so much for tuning in. I am Brandon Olsen for Locked On Gators. Thanks for making us your first listen of the day every day. We are available daily and free, whether it's in the podcast and on YouTube. We will be back tomorrow at the absolute latest to talk more Florida Gators football for Locked On Gators. I'm Brandon Olsen. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter, WNS_Brandon. Find all my written work with New York Giants on SI and swampsignal.substack.com. And I'll see you all next time.